All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 309 is in full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be here with you and for you to be here with us, whether you're live streaming, podcasting, or YouTubing, or any other way that you can get a hold of this show while it's going or while it's not going live. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time as we have what I would like to consider a kick-ass show for you guys today as we are adjusting on the fly because we have had a hell of a morning so far. So we've had some technical difficulties, been trying to find some stuff. This is what you do when you have a podcast that goes live. You know, when you're not doing it live, you kind of edit and modify things, and no one ever knows. But this is like a live jazz performance, man. Nobody knows until you mess up, and I just kind of let the cat out of the bag. So I apologize to my guy sitting across from me for letting the cat out of the bag. But you know what? We prevail. We keep things going. We keep things rolling. And we're so happy to be here with you guys. If you've not already done it, we tell you guys at the top of every single show. We tell you at the bottom as well, so stay tuned for the reminder. If you've not already done it, please, if you'd be so kind, to go to YouTube, go to the Spoken Podcast, and subscribe, notify, share, all those cool things. But commenting is the most important thing to us. We want you guys to get into the live stream, in the live chat, because that is where this show makes its bread and butter. When we get to communicate with you guys back and forth, you're a part of the show. You're not somebody who just attends the show. You're not just the audience. We want you to be a part of this as well. So go ahead and do that. Go to YouTube, and we will get your comments throughout the show on the show. And we have a segment on the show called Speak It, where we dedicate the entire segment to you. Whatever questions you guys have, we're going to answer them as authentically and as honestly as we possibly can. And we will do that as long as it takes to get as many of you guys in the show as possible. So tell your friends, spread the word. Let's get this thing going in the offseason. Like we did last year. This thing absolutely blew up in the offseason last year. So when football season was here, you guys already knew what to do. Let's do that again this year. This thing going again, and let's rev this thing up because we have a lot to get to. We have an awesome guest today, a guy we have not on the show in a long time, but he's one of the brothers of our community. I consider him a brother, period, because he's a great dude, a great friend, and one of the most knowledgeable dudes when it comes to the NFL, and I know he does not want to hear me say that, put that kind of pressure on him, but that is literally the truth. We have a man by the name of Teja Dash, the one of the Dash brothers from the Chief Concerns podcast with JD and Marcus. Teja is, I'm telling you guys, you're going to really enjoy the breakdowns he's going to have. We're going to talk about the NFL draft, how he sees things going in a general sense, but mostly here in Kansas City, how he sees the Chiefs handling their draft picks. Are they going to trade back, trade forward, stay put, be aggressive, be a little more conservative? We're going to get all this from him, guys, and I can't wait to get him. We're actually going to get him in about 15 minutes. So strap in. Trevor, how the hell are you doing today? Everything going good for you?
Doing solid, man. Some nice weather this week. It's been a nice steady. It's been a little windy out here in the Kansas City metro area, but yeah, it was. We had a little bonfire at the fam last night. Some drinks were had, some things were said, but yeah, no, it's a good time, man. Things are good on my end, bro.
Everything's good over here as well. So, without further ado, guys, because we got to get this show going right now. We're fired up to go. Trevor, it is time for Lance Rants. So we know that this is the time of the year when things are really slow and the national media has to have a storyline. And oftentimes we fall victim to taking the bait. Today, we're not necessarily going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of circumvent around taking the bait, but more addressing the idiocy of what the baiter is trying to do, if you will. So we had the unfortunate pleasure of seeing Colin Cowherd take some time off this week with his show, because when that happens, Unfortunately, Jason McIntyre has more of a platform. And we know, and it's not just about his horrific Chiefs takes. This guy's just, and I hate to be this dude, but I'm just going to say it. He's just kind of bad at his job altogether. Tries to be a shock jock, tries to recreate the wheel that's already been created from guys like Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, and he's just not as good at it. So it just comes off as very douchey. It just comes off as very, and the flavor of it just kind of sucks. Because at least like Skip and Stephen A. have had style to it, so it kind of brings you in. With guys like Jason, it's irritating. And I have to address what's that. And most of you guys already know what he said. It's over a 4-minute clip. I don't want to have to play the whole thing, but I have to in its entirety just to kind of explain to you guys the mishap and the misunderstanding in this type of take that he doesn't share on his own. He's just the one stupid enough to voice it. So if we could, Trevor, let's go ahead and play this clip from yesterday's show on the Herd of where Jason McIntyre sees the Chiefs right now and moving forward. You're going to not enjoy this.
I'll start with this. The offseason is when you improve your roster and fix issues, plug holes. Have you guys seen the Kansas City Chiefs offseason? They haven't done a damn thing. Their biggest signing, because we know the offensive line is a train wreck. It was in the Super Bowl. Then they traded Joe Thuney, who was a guard who they moved outside. Their biggest signing was Jalon Moore. Who? 5th rounder out of Western Michigan, who was a backup in San Francisco. A backup. Now he's behind Trent Williams, which is kind of, understandable. Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles in the league. But I think he had 5 starts last season. That's it. He's going to be their new left tackle. This is how desperate the Chiefs were last year on the offensive line. They tried 4 different guys at left tackle. Thuney ended up being the best at the end of the season, but they moved off of him. He's now in Chicago. So that's the biggest issue I've had with the Chiefs. They have not improved at all. And, I love Travis Kelce. Me and my family like Taylor Swift. We went to see Taylor Swift in concert. I like Travis Kelce a lot. He's a Hall of Famer. He's coming off his worst season as a pro. He's 35, turns 36 in October. Travis Kelce, career low 3 touchdown catches. If you look, you could draw a direct line. It was like basically the stock market on Monday. Right down. Travis Kelce's career stats, right down. Folks, I like Kelce. Do you remember his last 3 playoff games last year? He's a ghost, invisible, didn't do a damn thing. Showed well in the opener against Houston. After that, nothing, non-factor. He's the safety valve for Patrick Mahomes. And I know what you're saying. We get Rashee Rice back. Okay, we'll wait to see if there's a suspension. We'll wait to see if he gets in more trouble in the next 5 months. But then I saw the really big issue with Kansas City. So last year, they went 11-0 in one-score games. Historic stuff. You don't see 11-0 in one-score games. And the staff pointed out to me this morning, Jay, it's not just 11-0 in one-score. They couldn't blow out anybody. They had the worst point differential of a 15-win team in NFL history. But it gets better. 2 teams in their division who finished behind them, the Chargers and Broncos, had a bigger point differential than the Kansas City Chiefs. What's that telling you? That the Chiefs are unable to blow teams out anymore because they don't have the horses. They're just not that good. They do have, however, Mahomes and Reed, arguably one of the best quarterback-coach combos after Belichick and Brady in NFL history. That can only carry you so far. And you guys know, if you've gambled at all, one-score games historically flip year to year. Just a little tidbit, the Denver Broncos went 1-6 in one-score games. So if the Broncos flip that and are, 4-3 next year, 3 extra wins, they might take the division. I think the Chargers are probably going to win that division this year. And what happens if Kansas City goes from 11-0 in one-score games to, 4-7? Oh, wait a minute. Now we're looking at like an 8 or 9 win team in Kansas City. And I'm not saying they're in deep trouble, because obviously they're very good. But if you look at the AFC, the worst teams in the AFC are getting better. Tennessee is for sure going to get better with a rookie quarterback, Cam Ward. The New England Patriots added Mike Vrabel, who's an excellent coach. His record needs no introduction. They're going to be much better, the New England Patriots. Cowherd loves them. He's starting to convince me that they're a playoff team. We know the Raiders are going to be better with a real professional head coach in Pete Carroll. And they got a better quarterback at Geno Smith. Here are the Chiefs' opponents. At home, little edge being at Arrowhead. They have to face the Ravens, the Lions, the Texans. Those are all playoff teams. The Colts, who were 8-9, and the Eagles and Commanders, who were playoff teams last year and met in the NFC Championship. That's a daunting schedule. Now, on the road, they get a poo-poo platter of the Cowboys, Jags, Giants. Like, they should clean those up. The Buffalo game, obviously, will be huge. Guys, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to be real. You look at the last 3 years. Kansas City has played 10 playoff games. That's more than half another season. We see this in the NBA all the time. When you make a run to the finals 2-3 years in a row, that following year, you're drained. The bodies are breaking down. The players are wearing down. And it's very, very difficult to keep that sustainability going. I'm making the call here. It's mid-April, before the draft. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are a playoff team next year.
Boy, that fucking sucked, huh? That's some rough shit. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that either. Look, there are 4 points that I want to address from that comedy routine. And I'm not going to address – I just told Trevor before we got back, I'm not even going to address the whole schedule aspect of all that because the absurdity – it's pure absurdity to do so in April. Like, we're not talking schedules in April. And we act as if the Chiefs haven't lost only 27 games in 7 seasons with Patrick Mahomes at the helm. The Chiefs don't get tough schedules. Tough schedules get the Chiefs, like Trevor and I just talked about. So we're not sitting here sweating tough schedules. We think the Chiefs have some of the toughest schedules in the NFL and win 13-plus games. We're not doing this. But I am going to address a couple of things real quick. And again, this is not me taking the bait because I understand what Jason's doing. We understand this now. I think we're a mature group around here. And this is going to segue right into Teja. So whenever Teja gets here, I think he's going to hear the tail end of this. Segue right into what we're going to talk to him today about. But the first thing I want to say and address is I actually agree with something Jason did say. Believe it or not, I actually 100% agree with him about the whole left tackle position. That has been an absolute pain in the Chiefs' ass, and there is a chance that Jalen Moore doesn't work. He is a former 5th-round pick. He does look like he has some promise, but we don't know what he is yet. That is something to be concerned about. I disagree with him vehemently, though, about the rest of what he says about the offensive line when he calls it a quote-unquote train wreck. This team has some of the best players at their position in the NFL in this offensive line, being so Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. Those two guys are elite players at their positions. And Jawaan Taylor gets a bad rap because of some of these false starts that he's had. That man is in lockdown mode when it comes to protecting Patrick Mahomes more times than not. And I have not hated that signing one bit. I think he was a little overpaid for being a right tackle. Don't tell Mitchell Schwartz. He gets mad at me when I say that. But that is, other than that, I think Jawaan Taylor has been a net positive for the Chiefs in all aspects. He's been an above-average right tackle. So those 3 positions out of the 5, I am concerned about left tackle, and we will see what happens with left guard. I believe Kingsley Suamataia will get that job, and I think he'll succeed there. But the Chiefs have a plan in place, and I'm going to trust them there. But I don't necessarily disagree with Jmac in that regard. But number 2 is where everything just kind of goes off the rails. Yes, Kelce is older and isn't putting up the same numbers he did for nearly a straight decade. Yet, as we've discussed, he's only a victim of his own standard. Now that he's no longer putting up historic numbers and is only top 3 tight end in the NFL, he's somehow a net negative for this Chiefs team. And now the Chiefs can't rely on him to make plays. When we clearly saw that all season was at 100 catches last year, guys. That was a down season. Most tight ends have never come close to 100 receptions in a season. This man's done it several times over and almost did it again in his worst season of his career. And why the hell is Taylor Swift being brought up? I don't get that. I mean, like Trevor said, it's low-hanging fruit. Maybe you're right, but it just feels so forced to add that these backhanded compliments. Our guy Jason Dunn said yesterday on Twitter, these weird backhanded compliments about, I love Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, but I'm just hearing shit on them now. It's such a weird thing with that whole situation.
Filler, bro. It's something else to throw in there.
It is. You're right.
It's just filler content.
And yes, the good old, and I said this during the video to Trevor, I was like, the good old point differential argument that clearly, worked against the Chiefs. The 15-win Chiefs, by the way, that made the Super Bowl, that really worked against them, and it really worked in the favor of the 2 teams he mentioned in their own division, Broncos and Chargers, who had a better point differential. Because as you remember, Trevor, both of them lost the wild card by a combined 44 fucking points. So I'm really glad that that's still the argument they're going with about how the Chiefs can't blow people out. So therefore, this is a real problem. They just don't have the dogs to do it, as he said. They don't have the horses to get the job done anymore, even though literally the worst offenses over the last 2 years the Chiefs have had, they only won the Super Bowl and then got back to the Super Bowl. So it's just kind of funny how he's not giving them the potential of getting better. He just thinks it's now just going to get gradually worse. They're not going to do anything to get better. And I also love, Trevor, how he praises them for having Reed and Mahomes. And then wants to theorize that that's not enough when he directly compared them to Belichick and Brady when they were the only consistent pieces of both dynasties over their 20-year run together. Like, there was no other consistent piece that played their part in that 20-year run other than those two guys. So if you're telling me that's not enough, how the hell was Belichick and Brady enough to do what they did all those years? They had to constantly and consistently have a rotating door in almost every other position. There was no other player that was there that whole time. There wasn't even the same coaches around Belichick. Guys came and went, left all the time. It was those two dudes. If you want to throw Robert Kraft in there, okay, but Clark Hunt ain't going nowhere. So throw that in there too then and make that comparison. The point I'm trying to make, guys, is that this type of rhetoric is what makes me happy to be a Chiefs fan more than anything in today's era. Because and I don't want to say we because I'm not a part of it, I'm just a fan. But this Chiefs team, the only way I can quantify it is they are a disrespected dynasty. And I know that sounds like, oh, of course you're saying that because you're a fan of the team. But I grew up, and I'm sure most of you did as well. The Sports Center generation, the hot take generation started to come out when we were in our early 20s. We never saw this, at least to this level, with the Patriots or with the Bulls or the Lakers or any of these other the Yankees. We never saw this type of rhetoric at this level when they were winning, in the midst of their winning. They could say it when Tom Brady was long in the tooth. They hadn't won a Super Bowl in a decade. I remember Trent Dilfer's famous thing after the Chiefs clapped that ass on the opening game of the ring ceremony, and they beat the shit out of the Patriots. And said, they're just not good anymore. That was obviously a hilarious thing to win the Super Bowl, but that was their first Super Bowl win in a decade. So it makes sense in that respect that Trent Dilfer would say that based upon the longevity of lack of Super Bowls that the Patriots have been having. The Chiefs have been winning Super Bowls consistently in this 5-year gap, this 5-year window. So how can you sit here and make these types of arguments about this team when they have proven you time and time again that no matter who else is around Patrick Mahomes in this core infrastructure, they continue to win? Why would we think or feel any different? And I wish I could credit Alex Curry, who was the co-host of the Herd during this, but she was literally calling Jason crazy during this. She goes, I don't know how you get to this place when you know that Patrick Mahomes is in the prime years of his career. They have Chris Jones locked up, who's still a great elite player. You still have you still putting up top 3 tight end numbers. Oh, yeah, and Andy Reid's the best head coach in football. And this is still a young, aspiring. I love how he said in the back end of the whole take, too, about how this team's been playing so much football. They have all these extra players. This team is built where, Trevor? Where do they build this team? What is the nucleus? How do they build this team on an annual basis?
I mean, the quarterback, tight end.
In the draft. Yeah. Because obviously they drafted Travis Kelce. They drafted Patrick Mahomes. They drafted Chris Jones. Yes. All their core players that they've been building this team around have been built where? They're homegrown players.
Right.
And the majority of the guys that are on this team now, that this team builds around and from, are players they drafted. Why is that going to change? This is what I want to say real quick, Trevor. The starters or projected starters for the Chiefs since the 2021 draft. We have the picture. We can put that up real quick, if you will. So these are just starters that the Chiefs have currently since the 2021 draft. Mike Dana, Nick Bolton, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Brian Cook, Leo Chenal, Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice, Shamari Connor, Xavier Worthy, Kingsley Suamataia, Jaden Hicks. Now, some of these guys are projected starters. There's like 2 or 3 of them. But that is still 16 players that are current starters in just the last 4 drafts. That's 4 starters per draft that Brett Veach has gotten this team. Per draft. This doesn't include former awesome starters that went on with their careers elsewhere, like L'Jarius Sneed and Willie Gay. And also adequate impact backups are talented young hopefuls like Noah Gray, FAU, Wanye Moore, Jared Wiley, Hunter Norstead, CJ Hansen. These are all guys still on the roster that are playing their roles. Or may even play bigger roles as time goes by. The Chiefs got their dogs in the draft. The Chiefs have gotten their horses in the draft. That's why having these takes in April is so stupid, because you know that when late May, or early or mid-April and late May come around, these guys are all, this team's going to be totally reconstructed with youth, the guys that they built up through the draft. They've never been the team that's outspending their competition in free agency, and quite frankly, the team does not. The teams that do are the ones that can see the postseason. Ironically, like J-Lac here predicts the Chiefs will do. But, I mean, again, what should we really expect from someone who knows football as well as Bryce Mitchell knows the Earth Shape or World War II facts? You know, I mean, this is why having platforms is such an important thing. You have to take it so seriously, because you can – casual viewers are the ones that are the majority. It's obsessed fans like us, we're not. We're the minority here. So casual fans are going to be the ones that carry on these narratives. And we have to deal with that constantly in all different aspects. This one is dangerous because what it's going to make a lot of people look like is fools, because you're going to continue to say, well, the Chiefs haven't made big moves in free agency. Man, when was the last time the Chiefs made a bunch of big splashes in free agency? They may make one here and there on a trade, or they might sign like a Juwan Taylor, but even Juwan Taylor isn't some big flashy move. The Chiefs are never going and getting like the CeeDee Lambs. They're never going and getting Jamar Chases. They're never going and getting these big skill position guys. Sammy Watkins, the last one I remember that they went and got was a big time name. That was 8, 6, 7 years ago, dude. And that was to help Patrick Mahomes in his first season develop into a guy. So, do we have TJ? Teja's here? Sweet, okay. So, I'm going to try to put these headphones on. I'm kind of stretched across. We got a new facility here, guys, so I apologize. All right, so without further ado, I think this is the perfect time to segue right into what we're talking about, because I'm fired up about this conversation. I'm sure Teja saw the video, but you know what? I want to get right to it. This is a guy, like I said, guys, that I respect vehemently when it comes to what his stakes are in general. But this time of year, I think he's at his absolute best. I have a group chat with him and his brother Marcus, and I feel like I'm learning so much every single time, because I'll send them some of my drafts, my mock drafts, and I'm going to show them my newest one today. I'm going to show you guys as well in live time. I feel like he's nice to me sometimes about this, because he's like, yeah, I feel this player and this player, but I don't think this and that. And I always feel like I'm learning something from this guy, and I very much appreciate it. Yes, I'm obviously I'm flattering him right now, but I'm also being very truthful, because he's one of the most knowledgeable dudes in the fan base. And I'm so happy to be here with him today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the one and only from the Chiefs Concerned podcast, Mr. Tate Dash. What's up, baby?
What's up, guys? I appreciate the intro.
Dude, it's the least I can do. I mean, I feel like I could have probably even made it better. I could have went like Michael Buffer on you, but I'm trying to make you the star here. If I do that, then I'm like, I'm kind of taking away your shine a little bit. I ain't trying to do all that, dude. You know what I mean?
Love how you say I'm nice about the mock drafts. I don't know shit, man. None of us know shit. We all just pretend, and we're all just reading names and catching up. I'm not a so-called year-round draft sicko, as people like to say. I'm just a seasonal draft sicko.
Well, you know what? We're all here one way or another, and I am excited to talk to a fellow sicko, because if we could, I want to put this up real quick. I want to get his immediate thoughts on my newest one. I haven't shown anybody this yet. Yeah, I made this one 2 days ago.
Okay.
And these are the trades that I didn't make. I was offered, so I took them. So let's go with the first one, Trevor. Let's show the first reel. So I traded out of the first round. The Jacksonville Jaguars offered me this. I said, hell yes. Because I am the guy, and I've told you, and I've told Marcus, I've told everybody I've talked to in my own time, I want the Chiefs to accumulate as many picks within the first 60 picks. I want to get as many bites of the pie as possible.
How much do you hate it when you see a mock draft from like a pundit and they have us trading up to like 24 or 25 and like losing like 3 picks? I can't stand it.
No, that's an immediate
like, click out of it for me.
Yeah. So this is the first part of how I built it. Let's show the second one, Trevor. These are the guys that I took with these picks. So right here, you see. There we go. All right. Yeah. So I want to get your initial thoughts on this, because I obviously where I'm at. I think you and I are in the same place. We obviously want to see them rebuild the defensive line, or at least add to it. Be aggressive there. Obviously, got to get an impactful running back. I know you're not the biggest Judkins guy. I'm not either. Don't tell Marcus. But he was there, and I wanted to take him in this position. I don't think that's going to happen, but he was there, and I wanted to take it. What are your thoughts on these initial picks right here?
You asking Trev? You're asking me. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm asking you, Teja. I'm sorry.
Okay. I like. I mean, I like it. I like your draft. I'm just going to come out and say it first. I like it. I never find myself taking Princely. I usually wait for or hope and pray that. Actually, no. I probably would have taken Kennard maybe around 70 or 79. I just think he fits more of that really long, tall, lean, like Spags will look at him and see just blank canvas. Let me just make this guy into the pass rusher I want him to be. And Kennard at first, I thought it was so light, but then everything I read about him, just so impressive. So I like Kennard, but I like a lot of your picks. We had a long talk on CC last week about Collins because I don't think JD was a big fan, but I like Collins, and I know we nitpick these guys for not being the total package. But in your case, I think it's interesting you took Harmon and Collins, huh? What was your rationale is what? Harmon just going to be moved around the D line and become our gap shooter, and Collins you're just going to try to make into like a giant Mount Cody run stuffer?
That's exactly as I see it, because I see it feels like the Chiefs are starting over. And I know that they have their types where they like to have, the big clunky guys in the middle. I know that's Spags guys. He likes having next to Chris Jones. I vision Alfred being more like that guy. And I'm sorry, what did I say? Alfred Collins.
Yeah.
And then Derek Harmon's going to be that guy that's kind of the jack of all trades. A guy that I don't think the Chiefs have really ever had, or at least a healthy a guy that they can use in that way. Because I think Chris Jones likes being that guy, but as he ages, that's just not going to be possible. And I want to see for the first time ever Chris Jones with a free athlete, or a guy that can play all over the defensive line with Chris Jones still relatively in his prime year. I fantasize about that, man, how awesome that would be. I thought that was what Charles Minnick's going to be. He can't stay healthy. Hopefully he can this year, but it's not something we can rely on. I want to see a young dude ready to prove himself, a guy that – and I look at all these other mocks. People are very high on Derek Harmon. He's a dude that I think fits Spag's system based on his size. His RAS scores are high. Like, that's the kind of guys I think the Chiefs pay attention to. And plus, I'm kind of hedging my bets here because let's be real. Veach hasn't exactly killed it in the draft at defensive line. And I think if you take multiple stabs at it, this is another reason why I want to see them take more stabs in the draft and go and get guys in the middle, the second and third rounds, is I want to see him get a chance to maybe potentially hit on multiple guys. Let's say this is the year where he starts to turn the tide, starts killing at the defensive line. He gives himself 2 or 3 dudes that are just badasses for like 4 or 5 years. That's going to elevate Chris Jones, make him want to play. His longevity is going to be more of a factor. He won't age as quick. These are the kinds of things I'm looking at, how the Chiefs can sustain a longer dynasty here and extend their run by having freaks on that defensive line, guys that I think Veach and Spags and Andy Reid all agree upon. But this is just me crapshooting, man, you said.
It's also extending Jones's career because if you get so I think there are 3 guys around our pick that can play next to Jones, who are good enough to play the run next to Jones, and then can also move over to hit the 3-tech position and gap shooter that Jones is. Because Jones does come off the field a fair amount. And I feel like every time he does, I don't know about you, but when they show Jones on the sidelines before a critical play, you're like, oh, man. They're like, dude, come on, man. Call timeout.
Right.
Just burn one. Just burn one. This is really like a 3rd and 6, like the game's on the line. Like, get him back in there.
Right.
I'd like a guy that can also shift over and be like, okay, we're okay. Derek's shifting over, and then we have our Pennell or Collins playing the nose next to him. But I think there are 3 guys. If we draft one of these guys, I think that's what we're trying to accomplish. I think it's Harmon. I think Nolan's got it in him, although he has a little more lapses. He's not as polished at those, but I think he I think Nolan could also be a better gap shooter than Harmon could.
Yeah.
Third guy who it would be so Chiefs to draft him at 31 is Alexander from Toledo.
Yeah.
He's also someone who's not getting as much love as those guys, but he can do both those things well. He's not just a one or the other guys, where everyone after that, I feel like, is heavily scaled at either gap shooting and a major liability at at run stuffing, like Norman, Lott, and then like TJ Sanders, great shooting gaps, maniacs at pass rushing, but then there are major liabilities. Like I think Norman Lott had 84. I need to correct myself here. It's under 100 run playing downs last year. Like he doesn't play the run. They don't even put him in position. They took him out. I know Tennessee's got a lot of wonky substitution packages, and Pierce was a problem with that too. He took a hit on that as well. But still, like they didn't even trust him to try it. And then you have the other side of it, which is the Collins, which is the Jordan Phillips, the Tyleik Williams, who are really good at the more of the run stuffing side of it, not as polished as the pass rushing stuff. So I think another guy's Caldwell I like out of Oregon.
Yeah.
That's a guy, dude, I think he's one of those guys too, I think has the pass rush in him. He had a decent amount of pressures for being a run stuffer, and that's someone that can go a little later. So if you want to dedicate another pick and get your nose tackle at like 133, that's someone I could see lasting that. I'm a big Jordan Phillips fan. Talk about like a guy who can stop the tush push. You see how low that guy gets in highlights. He gets so low to the ground. I mean, he was a bodybuilder, a weightlifter in high school. Like he killed it. I think he could squat like 600 pounds or something. It's crazy. So it really depends on where they want to go with it. I like what you're saying. I like a guy who can play next to Jones, fill in for Jones, and then I like a guy who can just flat out stop the run and just be a wall.
Yeah.
But you probably have to dedicate two of those picks to, at least probably top 5 rounds, unless someone, some of those run stuffers, the one-dimensional guys, they hang around the draft sometimes a little longer than they should, that you think they should. But that's my.
Let's swing over to the other side of the ball real quick, because I think the most polarizing aspect of this draft is we all know the Chiefs are going to take a running back. I mean, Brett Veach has addressed it. There's really no mystery to it. They know they got to get more of a burst out of the backfield, and Pacheco's served his purpose. But let's be real. He's a 7th-round pick, and he's been the starter for back-to-back champions, and he served his purpose. He's exceeded all expectation. But the Chiefs need to get themselves a bell cow. They need to get themselves a guy in the first 3-4 rounds at least that can be the dude, a 3-down back that can catch out of the backfield, that is multi-purposed. There are several dudes in this draft, and some are better than others, and you and I, we have our opinions on it. Marcus has his, Trevor has his. We all have our opinions on who that guy will be. But I want to know from your perspective, who should it be? And when do you think realistically that guy is going to be coming off the board for the Chiefs?
So are you looking for – let me ask you a couple questions here before I give you mine. I answer questions with questions, so –
Oh, do you?
I'm one of those. Yeah, that's nice. Are you going to be most surprised or would you be in favor of drafting a 3-down guy, a guy who's more into making short gains into like 3 or 4 yard gains, like a tough yardage guy, or a guy who you could just turn one loose? Because there's a lot of different kinds of backs in this draft, and there's some guys who I see people drafting, who are necessarily good at one of those things, not necessarily good at all those things. Because you have the Hendersons and the Dylan Sampsons who could just take a swing pass to the yard. But you don't necessarily want to give those guys a lot of carries. They're not 15 carry guys. They're just not. They're more of like Jahmyr Gibbs guys, but not as good as Gibbs. Otherwise, they'd be top 15 picks.
Yeah.
But they're in the Gibbs mold. They're in the B. They're in the 1B mold, right? Do you go for that and just a guy who can just knock it out of the park? Do you go for a plotter, a mauler? who's not going to give you much more than the Hunter Pacheco will, the classic 11-yard gain that you're like, oh man, why couldn't he break that longer? Because he doesn't have that anymore. Like I was getting a debate with Marcus in the show. I was like, dude, Hunt ran like a high 4.5s or 4.6 in the combine. Okay, right. 3,000 Cincinnati chili dogs later, dude. He ain't running he's running like a 4.8 at this point. All right,
right.
He doesn't have that. So we need a guy who can do that. We need a guy who can break past the first level. And I get it. And I don't. People always do. People killed me after. People are big Hunt fans, dude. Like I think Hunt. If you have like a power rankings of players, obviously Mahomes is number one. People take a bullet for Mahomes, but Hunt's top 3 to 5 on that list on Kansas City players.
And I'm one of those people, buddy. I'm sorry, I am, dude.
No, but that's good.
Affinity.
My point is, yeah. By the way, you're one of those people, but you want a 3-down mauler in the first 2 rounds, then yeah, you're a big fan, all right. Really going to bat for the guy. You're like the dog in those guilty dog videos. Who the second the owner's like, who did it? You just touched it. He touched the dog next to you in a second. Yep. That's you just blaming Kareem. Who's going to get benched first? You just touch Kareem.
Guilty as charged, man.
So that's my point. It's not all Kareem's fault. Like our line wasn't as good as we paid it to be last year. I think everyone knows that. And it took him a hard time to break through that first level sometimes, and he just didn't have the juice to then shake a linebacker loose for another 15 yards, where I think a guy that, we're talking about here in the draft could probably do that. Like we need a guy who can get through that first, get through the first gauntlet and then get to the next level. So I think it depends what you're prioritizing. If you want a guy to try to do it all, I like Judkins. His tape last year is pretty rough, though. I was reading up from him. I don't know what you guys do for all your draft stuff, but I watch hours and hours of NFL Stock Exchange. I love those guys. They watch film on these guys all year, so they can compare last year, summer, early season, late season. They don't just jump in a month before the draft. They're comparing the last 3 years of film.
Yeah,
and they were so disappointed with how Judkins did this year, because they just felt like he regressed. They had him as the number 1 or 2 back coming into this season. And they just said he just ran into people a lot. He just tried to break. It's almost like he didn't try to elude people. He just tried to run through people and break tackles. And it's yeah, I get it, dude. You're really talented. You can do that, but you could have had a 9-yard gain right there instead of a 4-yard gain trying to run through somebody. Right? So his tape regressed a bit. I think Caleb Johnson falls into that mold as well. I like Caleb Johnson. His speed didn't show up in the combine, but he's got that game speed. He's Hunty in that regard, right?
Yeah.
Hunt didn't test very well, but in games, Hunt broke runs in his early career. He just did. As far as Gibbsy guys, I'd say Henderson and Sampson. I'd see Sampson falling more than Henderson is, I guess, because he's just got that name and the Ohio State allure. I like some of my late round guys too, though. I'm a Monungai fan out of Rutgers. That's a dude who you want turning a 1-yard gain to a 4-yard gain. That's the guy you want. 0 fumbles and 676 carries. The Stock Exchange guys kept saying things like just runs like his family was insulted or being held hostage. And
must be a Rutgers thing.
Yeah, and I think one of the best characteristics a running back can have is just running angry every time they have the ball in their hands.
Yeah.
Because you can have speed and not use it. I've seen fast guys not look fast and not utilize it. You can have characteristics and not utilize them. If you're a naturally angry runner, that will show every time you run the ball. It just will. That's a natural. That's like your personality. That's like saying Teja's loud. I'm not. It's just gonna come. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna be loud. That's it, right?
And I'm an angry talker.
Yeah, it's just passionate.
Shows every time.
Just do it. But I like that he finds He's pure muscle. He's got great work ethic. He ran for 1,260 yards each season. I mean, talk about just a guy who performs. I like the Hunt Award of the draft. I've heard goes to Martinez out of Miami. People love him, and he's consistently like number 8 or 9 in everyone's rankings. Like you'll see some guys are like 17 one and then 8 in the other. Like Giddens falls under that. Some guys love him. Some guys are like, he needs work. Neal's a little more like that too. You'll see some guys that really buy into his longevity and like him being the heart of Kansas, which I totally get. And some people are just like, I loved it, but I don't know how that's going to transfer to the NFL. This ain't we're not in Kansas anymore.
Okay. Too easy. That was low hanging fruit there.
So you have some of those guys, but I've seen a lot of guys consistently rank Martinez outside of those dudes. But one thing I've seen in the consensus of PFF and the stock exchange guys and the 33rd team, I'm a big Monson fan. I like him too. He does a good job. Pretty much this top 7 is pretty much locked in. Like most people have those guys in their top 7. And they interchange it a bit. Like it's always Genty, obviously. Genty's always number 1. Hampton's usually number 2. The number 3 like swaps a lot. So I know one guy had Scatabo and the other guy had Judkins, but they literally flip, but everything else is exactly the same. It was Henderson, Sampson, Caleb Johnson, and like that group is just pretty much solidified. But I think if you want one of those 7, you're going to have to probably dedicate at least. I'd say we'd have to get him in 100, the 100 range. So I don't know if that guy will last to 133.
And that's kind of where I was wanting to get your mentality, because to answer your question, I obviously selfishly and unrealistically maybe I want a little bit of both, because I think that's what Kareem Hunt was coming out of the draft. That's why the Chiefs traded up in the 3rd round to get him, because I think they saw a guy that was multifaceted, that can catch out of the backfield, reliable hands. Obviously, can get the dirty work done up, between the tackles. That's kind of the guy I want to see the Chiefs get again. Maybe that guy's not there this time around, so maybe they have to choose. But I think if they had to choose, I would like to see a guy that maybe doesn't get as many touches, but can make explosive plays out of the backfield, because what that's going to do is open up things for the receivers, the tight ends, and guys like that. And I think the Chiefs have been missing that for quite some time. A reliable backfield threat, a guy that, we got to watch the flat. We got to make sure he doesn't catch the ball in the open field. This guy can run routes. Like he can line up in the slot, things like that. Like I want to see a guy that can do those kind of things, and not to bring him up because obviously I watch him so closely. You just briefly mentioned him, but that is what I saw in Devin Neal in his entire time in college. He was healthy as hell, can catch the ball. He's a good sized back. He can run between the tackles effectively. Average well over 5 yards a carry. Like he was just and again, maybe it's because he was facing Big 12 competition. But, I mean, Kareem Hunt was in Toledo, and sometimes we see guys that just have it. I think there are better running backs in this draft than Devin Neal. But everything I've seen, like I always see, like you said about Judkins and Giddens, guys like that are higher on the hierarchy here. There's always that but. When I've seen other people, maybe you've seen it differently, but from what I've seen from all the guys that pay attention so closely, it's not really a negative about Devin. It's just, like you said, in a transition. So I'm going to take a chance on a guy like that if it is in the 3rd or 4th round or the 5th round and he's still sitting there. Like I don't see the risk, because what I think it is you're getting a guy that at worst can make an explosive play here and there out of the backfield as a receiving option. And if we know anything about this team, they've been lacking legitimate receiving options too. So I just think it'd be a good situation to see the Chiefs going with a guy who can be an impact player early on. Obviously, you want to have a guy that gets you the 3 to 4 yards. But if you had to choose, with Kareem Hunt still on the team, they could probably still do that with you, with hopefully an improved offensive line. Then I think you have that for a year, and you can go to this kid and let him go and do those things in the flat, in the open space, and be a creator, be a threat in more ways than one. That's just the way I see it.
But what you described, though, I will say, you described wanting Henderson, Sampson, or like RJ Harvey, though, is what you described.
Sure. I just don't know if the Chiefs are going to be there to get those guys. You know what I mean? Because you said that's a top 100 pick.
Yeah, I mean, RJ Harvey, I think you can get probably at 133.
Okay.
So that's getting closer to your discount range. And I mean, dude, RJ, I mean, that's big play. 54 of his 231 went for 10 plus yards, 94 percentile missed tackle per attempt, 99 percentile missed tackle per reception. So he caught the ball, readjusted quickly, and broke tackles. That's what you want, right?
Yes.
Fast processing speed. I mean, the biggest knock I saw on Harvey was you might need to change who he is in the NFL because the speed's just different. And a lot of times he gets the ball and just tries bouncing outside right away instead of just taking the hard yards. That could just be a learning curve, right? He just learned how to do that in the NFL. But here's the beauty of it being such a deep draft class. And that's why I find the draft so interesting because it's like the Chiefs have all these cards in front of you and they just kind of like they uncover each one of them and you get to see like, oh, okay, I get to see what you're doing with that hand now, right? It's so cool because it's not just what they're doing in the draft, it's what they have the vision for the future, right? So in a deep running back draft, if they do draft a Judkins, we know what they're doing. It's what you described. We're going to slowly make this guy our bell cow. We want a 3-down back here, right? If they don't draft one of the top guys, or if they draft, let's say, a Henderson Sampson, then you're like, okay, they have the plotter, they have the guy between the tackle guys and Hunt and Pacheco. Now they want a guy who can just swing out, throw a swing pass to, put him at the slot, split him out wide, get him into space, get him create. That's what we want. That's our vision for the offense. We have one guy who does this, we have one guy who does that, a la the Lions, right? And then if we don't take one for a while, that means we saw the board of all these deep running backs and we're like, we don't need to invest a high pick in it. That's the kind of guy we want in like the 4th or 5th round. That's the kind of dude we want, right? And I'll know them passing up on all these really talented backs. And that's the guy that's like, okay, like they're sold. Let's just say, for example, get RJ Harvey at 133. It's like, dude, that's that. They saw him. They're like, you know what? Let's bypass all these big names. We could have had him. We have a lot of second and 2/3. We can get one of these guys that we're talking about. Like we can do it, right? I don't think they're all going to go before 62 or 63, whatever it is. So if we pass up on them, it just shows you how bad we want that guy. On the flip side, if we do take the Judkins or Caleb Johnson, it's like, man, despite there being so many names, and Andy Reid and Veach have their eye on a certain kind of back they want. If they take that guy, it just shows you how bad they wanted him. They're like, let's spend primo on him, man. He's our guy. We love him so much. I know there will be a guy we like in the 4th, 5th, 6th rounds, but this is our guy. So either way, I think we're going to come out with someone, we're all going to fall in love with them. We're all going to look at a million highlights and a million scouting reports and see why that is the chosen one for going forward, whether it's for 8 carries, 8 touches a game, or to eventually be our 20 carry a game. Well, okay, we're never going to go to 20 carry a game. We don't run the ball much. We don't run the ball enough for that, but close to it.
Teja, I want to stay on the offensive side real quick. And I really appreciate your time here, man, because you're really going in depth here, and this is what we
this is great.
For. Yeah, I really appreciate it, man. We know that the left tackle position has been something of glaring.
This was coming.
Yeah, and this is it's kind of a 2-part question here that I need your response on, man, because I know how I feel. I know the Chiefs obviously are invested in Jalen Moore, and they're telling us, hey, this is our starting left tackle moving forward.
2 years.
Yeah, for at least 2 years. But I'm not going to lie, Teja, I'm a little concerned. The 5th round pick, first of all. He's only started, I think, 12 games his entire career. He played well last season with the 5 starts he had when Trent Williams was down. But I don't know enough about this guy to say, yeah, I think this is the guy. I think that the Chiefs nailed this pick or this signing. Maybe they did, and I will be so happy if they did because he's only 25, 26 years old. Like this could be a really good signing, or this could be just more of the same. And what sucks is there isn't that left tackle in this draft that the Chiefs can say, hey, listen, we're going to throw the chips all on the board. We're going to say we're going to go get that guy, and we're going to invest a lot of picks to make sure we get this guy in the top 20 picks, and do what a lot of people are saying, like you said, the insanity of them trading up 6, 7 spots with this draft class being what it is. I don't see that happening, so I think that Jalen Moore is going to be the guy. There's no competition is going to be there for him. I think they're going to give, Wanye Morris another try to, maybe fight for the position, but I think we all know what he is. Kingsley's more likely going to be the left guard. So this has to work. It has to work. And I need you to tell me that it's going to work, or I need you to tell me it's not, and then what do you think the solution is going to be here, man?
Okay, so just overall, sorry, answer this question, draft strategy. People that say, oh, we signed, we filled all our holes, we're good. We don't need anything anymore. When you have, and I say this all the time on Chief Concerns, when you have Chris Jones and Mahomes taking up such a large percentage of your cap every season, you don't get the luxury of just being the Seahawks and building a team. You don't get to have that. Like you have to look at it completely differently. Like if you have a starter at a position, that doesn't matter at all. And JD and I always go back and forth because he's anti-BPA and I'm total BPA. Like, because in every 2 years, that guy's a free agent in almost every position, right? And O-line is no exception. Juwan Taylor's going to get out year after this year. We'll get back, 20-something million of his salary. Yep. He's gone, dude. There's no way in hell we sign ourselves up for another year at $25 million for I'm not even going to say he's bad. He's not bad. But above average to good. You're not being paid above average to good, and we can't afford that. When you get a high salary on this team, you got to deliver. You got to be, we pay you top 10, you got to play top 10. Otherwise, you're gone, dude. Like, it's not, oh, he's not a bust. Like, no, it's not about being a bust. You have to play as good as your money. If you don't, you're out. We have too much money going to two guys. We can't afford that. Jalen Moore, great. Well, we didn't give him a 4 or 5 year deal, so we're not sold either. The proof's in the pudding of the amount of years he's got. 2 years is not long in the NFL, right? So he's already at the bottom of the stairs to go up to the water slide, okay? That his contract's already coming to an end, right? Taylor's up there waiting for the guy's got the hand up, went and doing this, and let go. Okay, so he's almost gone. But Jalen Moore is up there at top looking up, going, can I come up yet? So so he's almost gone. We have no ties to him whatsoever. And I think we're almost treating left tackle like most teams treat quarterback. Draft another one. Like, just give it a try. Because, what's the second most important position on offense besides your quarterback? Well, the guy who protects them, right? So I'm not surprised, and I'm okay. So I was a huge Simmons fan to start the process. I still like Simmons. I think his biggest problem is just lack of playing time because of his injury, right?
Yeah.
I think he's got the tools. He came into the year as one of the top tackles, if not the top tackle. I like, and at first I was like, oh no, because I kept seeing, and it's funny, I did my deep dive after I just kept seeing people draft him to us, and you probably know who I'm going to say at this point. It's Connerly. People just kept giving us Connerly. I'm like, all right, man. We do a showcase of 2 draft picks every week. I was like, I'm going to do Connerly. Enough's enough. We got to talk about him. Like, everyone has us taking him, right? So I like Connerly. I think Connerly checks off a lot of boxes that Simmons doesn't. He's played so much, and he's got things. And the things I've heard about him from these guys that have deep dive his entire college career is he gets better every season. He's gotten better. The trajectory that Connerly has given you throughout his college career is exactly what you want from a franchise left tackle. He's been here, then he's been here, then he's been here. He's just gotten better. And something he does, something that you can't teach. I can teach a guy. I can make a guy stronger. I can get him stronger in the NFL weight program. I can give him. I can give him a little more of a mean streak, right? I can give him that, right? But what he does, he's so quick off the damn snap that he dictates the rest of the pass rush session. He doesn't just react. A lot of guys are slow to come out. They have to react immediately, and they already have their hands up. He almost pulls out of it and waits for a DN to get to him, which is such an advantage to have, especially at the NFL level where the speed does jump up a bit, right? That's why you see guys who are good at that in college, a little ahead of the game, but they get to the NFL where guys are that much quicker off the snap. It's like, ooh, they're in my face quick. If Connerly's so fast where he just waits for a guy, right, he might just be a little ahead, but that's still a huge advantage to have as a rookie. he's just elite in pass blocking. And I think that's what we value more. We want more of that in our left tackle than anything else. I think that's what we're going to value. So I wouldn't mind that. And the funny thing is, he's kind of new. He played running back in high school, dude. So like,
that's true.
He's not even like, this is a guy who's gotten so much better and who's still raw at it. So he's going to get better at that. He just needs more. He's competitive. He just needs to get stronger. That's pretty much it. I mean, poor guy was running back 4 years ago. So like, give him a little time in that regard. And here's the beauty of it. Simmons or Connerly aren't going to start day one anyway. So they are going to have time. Something that Kingsley didn't necessarily have, because unfair to Kingsley, all the main pundits said, it's not a guy you want to start day one. He's a project. You got to give him time. Like, you're doing a disservice to the poor kid if you throw him out there thinking he's your day one left tackle starter. If he was, he wouldn't be lasting to the end of the draft, okay, and in the second round. He would have been taken mid-first if that's what people envisioned for him. So it sucks that everyone's like, oh, he's not a left tackle. Oh, because he didn't prove to you he's a franchise left tackle in the time that nobody said he would do it. Like, everyone said he wouldn't do it. Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous, right? You got Cam Robinson getting the kind of money he's getting after leading the league in pressures, but he's still getting contracts. Like, okay, but Kingsley's signed away, never going to be a left tackle because he had a rough 6 games against like 3 of the premier pass rushers in the league. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. Now, I'm not saying that Kingsley is a bona fide left tackle, franchise left tackle prospect. I don't know, but I'm not willing to sign away anything yet. Like, he could would it shock me if Kingsley eventually, because of an injury in a game, moved over and looked pretty good at left tackle? No, of course it wouldn't.
Not at all.
But yeah, I would be fine with Simmons or Connerly in the first. I've gotten there now. I've seen some Banks, but I've also heard a lot of better right tackle or better guard.
Yep.
And I don't want to hear that. I just don't want to hear that. Could he be that?
I've even heard that about Will Campbell.
What's that?
I've even heard that about Will Campbell.
Yes, that's more arm related though, right? They're more worried about his arm. Banks is just, I mean, his player comp was Vera Tucker, who I believe was a tackle converted to guard, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, but his biggest problem, he dominates pass rush. He plays with great leverage. And I think I read a stat the other day that he went against like, I think 6 of the top 25 PFF pass rushing teams, D lines, and smoked him. It gave up like 2% pressures. Like, so he's great in the pass game. His biggest problem, they say, he just gets too wild in the running game. He goes for the kill shot. I don't necessarily hate that. I don't hate that. I like a guy that just want to demolish you in the run game too. I don't mind that, but he's got good bones as a pass rusher. His problem is he just gets a little too wild. So overall plan, I would say we have to draft a tackle. If not in the first, I'd say in the first 3 to 4 rounds.
That's interesting. That's interesting you said that, because that kind of goes in the opposite direction. What I was going with now in this draft is kind of trading back and taking stabs on the defensive side.
Did you have Wyatt?
Yeah.
Didn't you have Wyatt in your draft? West Virginia? Did I see that? And I've seen so many mock drafts, I don't know anymore. I thought I saw Milam.
Yeah, Wyatt Millam. Yeah, I'm in 95th.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, you did draft a tackle in the first 3 rounds. Although I've heard some guys say he might be better as a guard, but I heard some of the cleanest film at tackle in the draft. I mean,
that's why I took him, because he kept falling in this mock. He didn't in other ones that I did. He fell in this one, and I kept looking at his RAS score was high. Like, he's a physical freak, a huge dude, and like you said, he is a very fundamentally gifted tackle. And I'm like, okay, yes, that sounds like something the Chiefs would love, especially if he was to fall to 95. So yeah, I definitely think the tackle. I even took an interior guard as well for insurance with Garrett Dellinger from LSU. I took him at 226. So yeah, I'm still invested in the offensive line. I think they need insurance for sure. I feel like this Jalen Moore signing was them like signing off on this draft, early on. I still think they do want to take a tackle, like you said. I just don't think it's going to be probably for the first 3, probably until the round 3 or 4.
Well, think of it this way: unless you think Wanye is a guaranteed fill-in after Juwan Taylor leaves next year, But even he only has one more deal left anyway. So it's like, okay, like for one more year, you don't know that, right? So let's say you draft Simmons or Connerly. They don't start left tackle right away. Let's say Moore struggles. Let's say by week 5 or 6, we got the Kingsley thing all over again with a guy who's played at this point almost the same amount of games at left tackle as Kingsley, by the way. What did Kingsley play, like 4 games? What, Jalen Moore at 6? I mean, he only played 2 more games than a guy who was a project left tackle. Great, okay. That's pretty scary to think about, actually. One guy just got $15 million a year. The other one just move over to guard the poor guy. So let's say he struggles. Let's say at game by game 6, you can slide Connerly over there to left tackle, right? That doesn't say we're done with Moore. Taylor's gone. Moore slides to right tackle. Let's say Moore does a great job. Let's say this is a good problem to have, by the way. Moore does a great job. Taylor's solid. Connerly and Simmons don't sniff the field. That's a good problem to have. I'm okay with that. But then what you could do is you can move Simmons or Connerly over to the right side. They can play right tackle after that. And then when Jalen Moore's gone, you either re-up him or you move him over to left. You have options at that point. And you're not only drafting for this year, you're drafting for the future. And if you think you have a top 10 tackle, if that's what you think that guy's a top 10 tackle in this league, at 31, you take him. That's it, right? I mean, that's just like throwing everything else out. Because the other position you want, the beauty of it is, the other position you want is what? D-tackle? Well, that's what? The second deepest position in the draft.
Yep.
So you're going to get one at 63. D-end? I think you can get a Spags D-end in the second or third round. So the other positions we want anyway are ones that we can get a round or 2 later. You're not finding a left tackle in the second round. You're not. I mean, you can get strike gold, right? But if maybe you want a right tackle, sure, you can get one like the third round, Wyatt or Trapilo from Boston College. There are guys that can man up your right tackle for the next 5 to 7 years, probably. If that's what you want. If you're that sold on Moore. But then overall, I just think it's for the future. I think it's today and on because of how we're built as a team. It just puts us in a situation and a position to have to do that every single year.
Our guy John Harrison in the chat, he gave a stat on Milam or Milam. I forget how you say his name exactly. Gave up 0 sacks on about 2,300 snaps in 3 years at left tackle.
Dude, he didn't give up a sack in high school either. How about that?
He's like Trevor Lawrence. He didn't lose a game from like Pop Warner to college. Like that's nuts, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I want to move to the defense side real quick, and we're gonna get you out of here, Teja. Again, dude, thank you so much for doing this, dude.
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
Absolutely, man. So, I have a take on a particular star player on this defense.
McDuffie.
Yes. Okay, you're tuning it out. Listen,
for the record, shaking his head right now. I guess he's the anti, huh?
Trevor's sick of it already. I'm not going to go through my theory, okay? I'm going to present it. I'm just going to hand it off to you because I think the picture is in some form or fashion being painted almost for the Chiefs, not by the Chiefs. By the way the market is moving for cornerbacks, where you're seeing guys that are not as good as Trent McDuffie making $100 million deals. And we know, because you said it yourself just now about, the Chiefs have to, they have to execute their money properly when you have Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes taking so much of your cap. You have to be choosing who you're giving money to. We've never until this offseason seen Brett Veach spend any real money at cornerback with this Fulton kid from the Chargers, who's more of a, in my opinion, not that he's a better player, he's not, but he fits stylistically to the Spags scheme because he can play outside predominantly, and he's a physical style of cornerback. Trent McDuffie's now being moved to slot, and everything that's a great thing is he's more of a slot corner, but that actually lends to my point about why he may not be worth all the money because slot corners aren't your most important position or most important player when it comes to DBs. You're moving him over to be more effective there. He can play outside, but that's not more of his natural fit. He's more naturally for slot. And I know the Chiefs love him. They traded him to get him in the first round. But I think that you get your value at these positions within the first 5 years, 4 to 5 years. Quarterbacks age quick, especially the smaller ones. Trent's a smaller corner. I think the Chiefs have been showing us this offseason, and I did it in my draft as well, my mock draft. I drafted 2 corners, one early and one late. And I think the Chiefs are going to do something very similar to that because I think that Brett Veach knows the one position I kick ass, absolute ass in at drafting is cornerback, is defensive back. He's done it. He's drafted 8 hits at that position. So I think that there's a chance, especially with them still not getting this deal done. I know this is the first offseason they can work with Trent. The fact they haven't gotten the deal done yet, the market continues to go up. They just signed Fulton. I think they're going to draft at least 1 to 2 corners in this draft. We saw that they didn't pay L'Jarius Sneed when he was at the apex of his career. Maybe that was the right move, but you saw they didn't do it. I think there's a chance, man, that we're seeing the Chiefs sticking to their guns at cornerback. Am I crazy? Or do you think he's going to be the guy that makes $100 million here in Kansas City? He's here for the foreseeable future. How do you see this playing out with Trent McDuffie and with the draft and everything going with the cornerback position?
Quick answer, no, you're not crazy. But let me follow up with a question then to both of you, actually. Okay, because we have one pro McDuff, we have one anti McDuff, right? And not even anti. I know people like to paint like a picture, but you're just being a realist because no Chief fan should be under the delusion that we're going to sign everybody. The Tyreek Hill trade was like a ripple that changed everything, right? After that, no one should be surprised by anything we do anymore, okay? Now, let me ask you a question. Karlaftis or McDuffie, who are you resigning?
Karlaftis.
Trev?
As much as I want McDuffie, it's probably going to be pass rush. Yeah.
It's interesting because I think JD said, I think he sided with McDuffie, but then I changed it. I said, George at 20 a year or McDuffie at 30 a year. Now answer that question. And he went on a long pause. I'm like, exactly. Because, but the market's dictating that that's probably going to be the case. So 10 million more? Is he 10 million more valuable to this team than George? I don't think so. And if you had to flip a coin, when that coin's in the air, you know how you're going to answer that question. I don't think so. I really don't.
Especially the way these defenses are built.
I don't think George is like a dominant pass rusher. I think George is a great – actually, I think George is a great number 2.
I compare him to like Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah, he's a great number 2. I think he's the great motor. If you want to try to have 2 motor guys, we didn't talk about DN in this draft. But if you want to try to have 2 motor guys, there's a few guys you can pair with him to have just guys that just are nonstop to the football. It'd be better to have maybe a more finesse DN on the other side of him, and you have the high motor guy on the other side. That's the more typical way teams build their DNs, right? I also think it's easier to replace a cornerback. Because cornerback, you could just throw a bunch out. Like, you're more likely to find a late round cornerback to be your starter than you are just to find a 7th round DN. Oh, man, he's our 15 sack guy every year. Wow, how'd that happen? Nah, man. Those guys come off like latest, like 3rd, 4th round. But you can find a 5th or 6th round cornerback who's this guy? Just locking this guy down, right? Because I think a big part of cornerback is also confidence, right? Like, you're not getting to the quarterback with confidence, dude. Like, you're not going to cocky your way to the quarterback. Like, but you can think I'm going to lock my man down and then have long speed. If you have great mentality and great speed at corner, a lot of the other stuff can be taught to you. A lot of that other stuff can through technique and good coaching. But if you can't teach speed and you can't teach killer instinct, and if you have those 2 things, you have a starting cornerback for 5 to 7 years. That's how a lot of these guys make their living into their first contract, right? Sneed's a good example of that. He actually didn't have great speed, but he had the technique down really well, and man, he had the mentality.
He's a dog.
He had the mentality big time, and he knew how to play the position. So there are a few guys in this draft, and I've done the whole – I was just going to say him, Harrison. There's a few guys who have that ability to fill in for the McDuffie, right? Parrish is one of those guys. He's one of those guys, like initially I look at size of the cornerbacks coming out, and I'm always like, well, he's not a Spags guy. He's not a Spags guy. But I was like, okay, McDuffie's kind of changed that a bit. Like, we got a guy who wasn't a Spags guy. We drafted him early, and he's been awesome, right? Parrish, 4.35. I've heard he's one of the stickiest cornerbacks in the draft, period. 5'10", 195. Oh, that's tiny. Is it, though? I mean, what's McDuffie's size?
Exact same.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, he's not that small. Here's the crazy thing about him too. You'd think, oh man, he's probably got a lifetime a slot. Wasn't. Played outside. Played most of his time outside. Played 150 snaps in the slot. So he's actually done the outside work, but his makeup looks like a slot, so they put him in there a lot to face slot. So he can do it all. He played great in man, played great in zone. He accelerates and opens his hip quickly. Like Parrish is competitive, and he's young. He's 21, by the way. So Parrish is a guy, and again, they're tipping their hat to you on how they see this team molding. If you see an early cornerback, writing could possibly be on the wall. And if you, I don't know if you guys do stocks at all, but if you had an option call on your call about trading Duffy, if we drafted a quarterback early, that shit skyrockets in value. Like the McDuffie might be gone call is going up a lot. It's like a high jump, right? So,
and Teja, just to add to it, and again, I'm not trying to make this into a thing, but I feel like the Chiefs are kind of showing us that this is, and like you said, there is that possibility, and you want to capitalize on your gains. And if you're not going to spend the market value on a guy that's going to be 26, 27 years old when the time comes and you're probably going to have to pay him, why not trade him when he's at his absolute best with a year to 2 years of control on his contract still, to a team that needs a veteran cornerback that's had high levels of success immediately in their career, a good leader, a good kid, and the Chiefs can get a couple early picks or at least one early pick in return.
That would be right now, though. You have to trade him like right now, you're saying.
No, I'm saying like if that was – okay, if the Chiefs have the plan in place to replace Trent McDuffie, and there are people out there, let's say they're calling them and saying, okay, hey, we noticed – you signed Fulton, you're drafting these guys. What are your guys' plans long-term with Trent McDuffie? Because we know these GMs talk. If there is a team out there that's like, hey, we really love McDuffie in the draft like you guys did, but you a-holes got him first, what would we have to give you guys to get him off your hands? Because like you said, it's much easier to replace those guys. And the Chiefs could get a quote-unquote, I say this very carefully, a haul in return for a 25-year-old McDuffie. I think they need to listen to that conversation, man.
You need to do that before the draft, though, because they always say trade him too early, not too late, right? A year too early is better. And we did that with Marcus Peters, too. I think his contract didn't come up for like 2 years before we traded him. And we got the most out of him that way because then they have 2 years to make a decision. They think it's a bargain. Oh, wow, we have McDuffie for one more year and then his option? Oh, this is great. So if you want to maximize what you get back, you probably have to trade him before the draft. Also, that team has time to reshape their draft plans too. Because if they draft guys and then you're like, oh, what about McDuffie? They're like, dude, we just drafted a cornerback. Why don't you tell us before the draft? So that would probably, I think, have to happen before the draft if we're going to do that. But yeah, you get back a haul for McDuffie right now. The way people are paying cornerbacks, that just shows you that they'll pay in a draft. Look what we got for Snead.
Right.
We got a third.
And an early third.
Oh, man, it's so money. I mean, that was one of the better trades in a long time. But early third, right? Like an early third for Snead, by that token, we're talking shit. If you gave us, I know they'd want a first. I'd say screw a first. Give me a second. Give me like a second and a third. I mean, I'm good with that, I think.
Absolutely. Especially in this
second, third, and like a later second, third, and fifth. Maybe like next year, fifth or something.
Right. Maybe you swap.
I'm all good with that.
Day 3, yeah.
You draft Parrish. I like some outside corner. I like Noah Williams.
Yes.
Big press man, real press man, right? Like that's the Spags type guy.
Yep.
Press man, throws receivers off with his punch, tough, good recovery speed, dictates contact on the route, run stopper. Like you have a bunch of guys who can do that. Although I heard it's one of the worst cornerback tackling prospect years in a long time. I heard it's really bad tackling across the board.
Now, when you got Specs and Dave Merritt, I trust they can fix that.
Strong out of Virginia Tech, another guy I like. I heard him. It was just boring to watch because he just does his job, right? But that's what you want. It's if you want to be bored by a player because they're just so good what they do. It's like Cornerback doesn't have to be flashy, right?
No.
Like you don't have to. It doesn't have to be flashy. Just do your job, shut down a guy, and move on. That's what you want. I don't want to hear your name. Actually, if I don't hear your name as a cornerback, it's a good thing. I don't want to hear your name a lot. I mean, you're not taking 5 pick sixes to the house. I mean, it's just not realistic. So there definitely are guys to revamp it all. I'm not against it. I'm not against the McDuffie thing because I'm realistic. I know that you're gonna have to make plans, dude. You can't have all the top 3 highest paid player, like 5-6 different positions. It's just not realistic. Exactly. And you want to recoup draft. You need more capital. We're gonna end up with a 5th round pick in this draft. I mean, there's no way in hell we get through this draft without a 5th rounder.
Yeah. And I liked your theory you told me a while back. I don't want to steal your thunder here, but the idea of trading that 4th round pick they got from the Bears to get back in the 5th round this year.
Yeah. I think you do that. I think it's easy. Get it early. I mean, you get it early 5th in this draft, you might be getting a starter on your team. If not this year, next year. Like
especially the way Brett Veach is drafted in the late rounds.
Yeah. I will tell you though, the positions I haven't looked a lot at. I haven't looked a lot at safety, although we seem to always take like a mid-round safety because safeties just fall in the draft every year.
Yeah.
Like I almost think we weren't even trying to take Hicks last year, but he was just like, it was there and it was like, dude, we had to take this guy. Like he's so high on our value board. Like, how can we not? Which I'm glad now we did. That might have forced our hand to be like, we can afford to be a little more, and the market in free agency every year at safety is so deep. So there's always safeties out there. So I don't think you have to take an early one. I've seen some people actually have given us an early safety. I'm just like, I don't think even Worry, they had him dropping us and taking him. I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think you need to really, but I haven't looked a lot at safety because I just think we'll just take a late one and we'll make him into a starter in 3 years. Linebacker, something I haven't looked at a lot either. I did before we signed Bolton, but then I stopped. If I've looked at anything for a linebacker, I've looked at will linebackers because I believe. Here's a good question for you guys too. Who do you think is on our linebacking core in 2 years from now? Tranquill or Shenault?
I think Shenault. I think that just with his youth, and I think that although Tranquill is a multi-purpose guy, he filled it for Nick Bolton last year when he had 2 years ago with his injury. I just think that Chenault's ability to also rush the quarterback, which is a very underrated aspect of his game that no one really talks about. But he actually had a higher pressure rate in Wisconsin than T.J. Watt did. Like, that's insane. But nevertheless, I think it's Shenault just based on age. I think that he's going to be a little less expensive right now because Tranquill didn't make a ton of money, but I don't think that Shenault will make that type of money initially. And long-winded version. I think Shenault. Trevor, do you agree or?
Yeah, I think they're 2 totally different players, but I think it's Shenault for not only what you just said, but for the special teams aspect as well. He's one of Dave Tobe's guys. Obviously, that showed up pretty big this year on his resume. To add to that, so I think it's Shenault for, like you said, the age. I think for his special teams chops, I think he has more to offer as far as like what he has in his tool belt. But I think they're 2 totally different guys. Obviously, with Tranquill having the veteran leadership and the kind of guy you can kind of trust a little more to do the little things. But I think there's far more upside.
And plus, Shenault looks like John Cena, so that
He's
also helps.
That guy's a freak. And have his jersey. So.
We're gonna have to start backfilling one of these guys soon, though, because Tranquill we have a get out of his contract after this season. We can forego his last year, and then Shenault's going to be a free agent. So one of those guys is probably gone. So
that's why I took Barrett Carter out of Clemson at 133.
Okay, yeah, I like Carter. I like Mondon out of Georgia. I like Chris Paul out of Ole Miss. Both really good. Mondon's more of a spy coverage linebacker. 6'2.5", almost 6'3". Like that's guy who can guard crossers coming over the middle. Guy who can guard tight ends. Haven't had that in a while. And then Paul's more of an undersized, chase and run will linebacker. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw a linebacker in the middle round, just because you have to start backfilling things. We have to look 1 to 2 years ahead of all these guys.
Yeah, you're right. The way you said that earlier about every 2 years, man, one of these guys is a free agent. So BPA, I'll be honest with you, I haven't always been a BPA guy, but the way you said that way you phrase that, it makes a lot of sense to think that way, especially when you're the Chiefs, who are always drafting at the tail end of the first round. You're always, you almost have to sometimes go BPA. So that's probably what they're going to do this year, and I don't blame them. That's, again, to reemphasize my point, why I want them to get as many picks as possible. So trade the fourth-round pick for next year from the Bears, get that fifth round, try to trade back out of the first round if you can, get more picks. That's the way I see it.
Or I see them. I think they're going to trade either that late second or that early third. I think they'll trade one of those back in like the 70s or low 80s, and then pick up like a low 100s pick, which I'm totally down with.
If they can get 5 or 6 picks in the first 100, I mean, how great would that be, man?
Dude, yeah. If we had 5 or 6 picks by the 133, actually, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6 picks in the top 133, I'll be extremely happy. You'll get so much talent out of that. And to go back to the whole like team building point, every 2 years, again, you have a free agent, right? So like, and because my point to JD was, if you have let's just give every player a rating out of 100, okay? More a position of need today, but he's like a 70 out of 100. But let's say a guy might be on our team, might be a free agent next year, the year after, not an immediate position of need, but let's say he's a 95 out of 100. Who are you drafting?
Right.
But you can't pass up on a 95 out of 100 because you need that other position right now for one more season. We'll need that next year. And you have a 95. You'd rather have a starter today for a position we need today than a Pro Bowler tomorrow? Dude, Pro Bowler any day of the week. I don't care if we don't need that damn position. He'll find his way on the field. You're not going to keep him off the field. He's that talented. He'll outplay that dude, and then that other dude's gone.
He gets traded or whatever, yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm always for, I don't want to neglect the position, but we don't have that problem right now because really for this season, all of our holes are filled. So whatever you guys want to do it. If there's a guy you love at that point, take him. Just do it, right?
So what you're basically saying is that Jason McIntyre is right and the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs, right?
I mean, look, he knows how to get clicks. He knows how to get it.
He's good at it.
It's like turning up the dial and doing that for his viewership, dude. Like he knows how to get like people back on watching him again. I mean, it's just simple. It's easy to do that. It's been a quarter. Once a quarter, just bug Chief fans and get them all on your timeline. It's great. Plus, you get all the Chief haters on your timeline too. It's great. It's instant success. You get all the Chief fans on you, and you get all the Chief haters going, yeah, McIntyre's right. Yeah, make my dreams come true by making the Chiefs not. Come on, dude. Like, I mean, what we say to free agents is what I say to anyone who ever tells me, like, I'm sorry about your loss. I'm like, nah, we're all good, man. Our floor is the AFC Championship. Like,
exactly.
I'm fine. We'll be back next year. It's like, oh, they're like, and they're surprised by it sometimes. They're like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, I'm not being cocky. I mean, we've been the last like 5 out of 6. I'm like, I mean, we are going to be back again. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like that. Those are high odds. You know what I mean? Like, we're almost there every year. I'm not just like talking shit. I'm being honest with you. I'm telling you sample size. Like, you know, our floor is the AFC Championship. More than likely, we'll be back in not next year, which I'd be surprised at. The year after that, like we'll just be there. We'll always be there. We're not just a 1 year. We're not
I was in Denver. I was in Denver just a couple weeks ago, man, and I could not believe it. I told our people last week that I couldn't believe how humble Broncos fans, when I was out there rocking around in my Chiefs gear, they come up and like, hey, man, you guys are killing it right now. I couldn't believe it. I had not one person talk shit. It was amazing, dude. I was kind of like looking for someone to talk some shit, you know, just for some like fun banter. But everyone just like, they kept their head low. Like, hey, man, congratulations, man. Like bump fists and everything. It was so if I'm in hostile territory with a division rival, then that tells you that these keyboard warriors really in real life understand who Daddy is. Daddy's
that's like a guy who can't find a date on a dating app trying to dog the guy who got dumped by a supermodel after a year. It's like, what? Okay, I mean,
we've all been there.
We were together for a year. I mean, you haven't even gone out like in the last year. So you're gonna make fun of me? It's like, come give me a break, dude. You know,
This is why we have Teja on the show.
You got overdraft fees. I just lost $1 million out of one of my billions. Okay, got a big difference here, pal. Like,
yeah, no shit. This is why we have Teja on the show, so you can give us insight and make the best analogies because those are spot on. Teja, bro, before you get out of here, and again, so glad we had you on the show, and it was super late notice, and you were super cool about it.
Yeah, no,
cannot thank you enough, dude. Let the people know where they can find you on the social media aspects and Chief Concerns. Tell them all about it, man, because I'm sure everybody that's watching right now already follows you guys, but just for shits and giggles, let them know, man.
Yeah, I see some familiar faces in here or names in here. Chief Concerns, hop on. Marcus does an amazing job holding the fort down at all times. Go on Twitter, go on YouTube. We're everywhere. So it's good to have a player and keep it real, too. I know Jason probably wants to flash the player card a lot, but he does a good job of keeping it real. He's a man of the people, but he's also got that like in the locker room take, which is just like
exactly
great. And I have to even find myself going like, oh, yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Reminder. But it's cool. We're getting good debates because you have the fan aspect. You have the, I'm not a player, so I don't have that ties, and I don't have to see these guys at like banquets and shit, so I can say things that, maybe players can't say sometimes. Although it's pretty wild out there. You got, players dogging players on podcasts. It's a weird time we live in, man. It's a really weird time we live in. But yeah, Chief Concerns. You get all kinds of takes. It's a really great interactive show. Lance is a friend of the program, so you get you on there again soon too, man. We got to talk about draft over there.
Let me know whenever.
Yeah,
sure. You guys are my favorite show out there, and I don't miss an episode, man. And you guys, I think you guys have the most unique show because you and Marcus have, like you said, the fan perspective down, and you guys are people that actually study and watch the game. You guys are just people that just casually watch and just throw out whatever they're hearing on these shows. And then obviously, like you said, JD, he has that that experience, that 11 years in the NFL. Knowing how to get drafted, what it was like to get drafted, what it was like to go through the process of dealing with these coaches. He knew Andy Reid. Like, there's some uniqueness to what you guys have. No other show in this community has that. Quite frankly, that's what makes you guys the most unique show. That's why we love having you guys on, man. Because you guys have
I feel like we don't engagement form. We just try to be honest and try to not have hot takes. I know some people just don't agree with me at all times, but I'm not a former player. I'm just a schmuck with an opinion, but that's the time we live in. Schmucks with opinions are, all over the place, and the biggest podcasts in the nation are schmucks with opinions, right? So it's fun to banter, and if you want to watch two brothers kind of like tear at each other's faces, Marcus and I can get into that sometimes. So you don't want to mess with Judkins. Mr. Judkins fan over there.
He was in the chat saying it too, man.
Dude, he's all in, man. He's all in. He's all in.
Well, we've got a question for you real quick, bro. Our guy Shaggy Shake in the chat, he says, "Hey, Teja, how did you become a Chiefs fan living outside of Kansas City?"
Okay, so I'm from the Northern Virginia, D.C. area. I don't like any D.C. sports, first of all. Like no sport I like coming out of there. The origin story of my Chief fanhood is kind of a mystery because Chiefs were always synonymous with football for me for some reason. And it's weird because Chiefs were really good in the early 90s. My older brother is one of them is a diehard Raiders fan. So the theory is that I just took the opposite of what he liked. But I was a pre-Montana fan. I love the Steve DeBerg team. I always chose them in the Super Tecmo Bowl. That was always my team. That was back in the day, too. I don't know if you guys remember this for the Sega, the Nintendo and Sega Super Tecmo Bowl. If you were playing in a season with multiple people, like if they fell on the schedule and you were the primetime game and they were like the 1:00 game, you couldn't play your week until they played their game. So like you get a knock on your door, like, dude, man, play your game. I want to play week 14. Like I have a big game this week. You need to play your game. It's like, I can't. I'm busy. I don't give a shit. I'm going to simulate your game. Don't touch the game. Don't touch the game. Or they'd be like, or you walk in, they'd be playing. You're like, I needed to play my game first. Like, I simulated your game. You had good stats, though. You threw for 300 yards. Like, you're leading the league in passing. I'm like, I don't give a shit what I'm doing. Anyway, so yeah, I fell in love with the a Montana team, and then the Montana Allen. We started getting on TV all the time nationally, so I was able to watch more games back then instead of just waiting for highlights. And then that was it, man. I was just loyal after that. Like, I was in elementary school rocking like those fun animated those shirts, like the one on like a Jeep. You had like Bono, Neil Smith, Collins all on the Jeep. I'm trying to find that shirt to buy that again, actually. Yeah, I just became loyal after that and never looked back.
Now, that shirt's probably worth like $180 right now. It's so
expensive.
hard to find a retro gear, man.
It's an expensive shirt, that one.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Shirts are weird. They go from being on sale at Marshalls and Ross for like $8, and then like 10 years later, they're like $200 fucking bucks on a website.
No, people are like, yeah, people want them. Oh, demand's there. Okay, now we're spiking it, 300%. That's just how it goes. And that's how like Pabst Blue Ribbon beer all of a sudden became a beer that became kind of expensive because all the hipsters liked it. It's just funny how that works.
Really? Is that for real?
That's not. I'm not kidding. Like Pabst, their sales spiked in like 2015, 2016.
No way.
Now it's
I had no idea.
And yeah, trust me, I have a hipster buddy that told me that. He's all triggered about it, but
Pabst was like Natty Light back in my day.
Yeah, I know, man. Same like hams. Like it's
Bud
still
Ice
reasonably cheap, but it's still like everybody drinks it now.
Huh. That's interesting.
It's funny how it works, man. Demand, I'm telling you. Now, like you said, when we were in our 20s, the retro stuff wasn't as big. Now everywhere you go, like I got a retro hat. This hat was, I don't even want to tell you how expensive it was. I have a retro shirt right now. Don't want to tell you how expensive this was either. 10, 15 years ago, I could have bought it for half the price, maybe less. It's so funny, man.
I know it's brutal, man. But yeah, I'm a Chief fan, and then I'm a Sixers fan. So I have some Philly blood.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know. That's all right. We got hopefully get a top 5 pick this year. Hopefully get number 1 pick and plant the flag, baby.
There you go. Do you ever join Marcus on that show too that he does with this?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Yeah,
all the time with him. Yeah.
Well, if we happen to have any Sixers fans here, follow them as well. I think you guys.
I doubt it, but Believe 76ers podcast with Eric Snow.
Eric Snow, yeah.
Eric Snow was the floor general on the AI team.
Hell yeah, dude! Very underrated player.
Again, it's always good to get in. Probably getting more like debates because Eric and I disagree more than JD and I do. JD and I agree on most things. Drafts where we disagree the most though, because he's more about player of need, and I'm more about just BPA. I'm like, man, I don't want the 6th ranked tackle. Give me the number 1 ranked D tackle. I don't want that.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Well, hey, like I said, you're one of the group guys that I know that we can have an entire show with, like from start to end, where we can just bring you on, and the whole show could just be us talking. But I know, dude, like I said, your time is valuable, and we appreciate it, and we don't take that lightly.
A lot of fun.
I hope your Saturday is great from here on out. I hope we got it started good, and we appreciate you so much for being here, dude. And guys, please, if you're on X, give my guy a follow. He does not have nearly the following he should have. I told Trevor before the show, he's one of those dudes that if he was on it more, he'd have 1 million followers.
Yeah. I'm just not. I'm not a big social media guy in general. Twitter's like the one social media vice I have.
Yeah.
And like it's like me, it's like hanging on for me, man. I got like one hand on the cliff, but like I get carried away sometimes. Like I'm more of a Twitter I guess follower than I am contributor, right? So it's all right. You got the Chief Concerns Twitter to make up for it.
Absolutely. And obviously you being on the show has added so much to that show that was already great. You being there, man, take it to a whole nother level, man. I love the Dash Brother connection. Trevor and I have that here. And the New Heights, the Kelsey brothers. It's like a nice little trifecta we got going here, man.
Yeah, dude, it's great. It adds a whole nother dynamic because you can tell when you watch podcasts sometimes like they're not like that cool. That's one thing a lot of podcasts I think are missing. Like these guys wouldn't hang out. They it's like someone you work with at an office. Like you wouldn't hang out with 2 guys that only hang out in an office together while they're in the office together, right? Like think about that for a second. You're like, you guys just don't even talk all day. You guys aren't even that cool. It's like you guys hang out a lot. No, this is it. This is the extent of it. We don't even have lunch together. So it's but it's cool to have like podcasts guys actually connect. You can tell the difference between podcasts that just do it because they were paired together by some stupid company that paid them, and other ones who choose and want to be together in a podcast for 2 hours.
Well, I think we connect here, bro. That's why we always have a blast when you're here, man.
100%.
And we'd love to have you back. If anything, after the draft, we'll try to revisit this conversation, get your ideas, your thoughts, your opinions, your take on what happened with the draft. So
2
if you have
weeks
time,
of draft,
man, we'd love to have you.
2 weeks.
Yep.
We're here,
man. We are here. That is our guy, Teja Dash. Teja, I hope you have a great day, man. Thank you so much for being here with us. And like I said, we'd love to get you back the next month or so, man.
All right, Lance. All right, Trev.
Thanks a lot, Teja. That's our guy, Teja Dash, from the Chief Concern Podcast. You guys heard it there. We could have that conversation all day long. I mean, I asked him for 15 to 30 minutes. I said, hey, if we could just get you just for a few minutes, man, that'd be great. And he was super cool about it. I asked him yesterday. Like, Teja's the coolest guy. And Marcus is my brother. I love that dude. We talk just about every single day. And JD's like that big brother I never had. I'm being the oldest. So JD being that big brother that I could always ask advice from. When we hung out a couple years ago at the Artego's Pizza Place, which I highly recommend you guys go and check that out over in 39th Street in Kansas City. Had some of the best conversations of my entire life there. And Marcus and Teja are very knowledgeable dudes. Yes, they consider themselves just fans. Same here. Very knowledgeable guys. I highly recommend, if you're not already doing it, please follow the Chief Concern Podcast, because they are the hardest working, and I think, in my opinion, probably the best overall show in our community. And I don't like to rank. We have other good friends and stuff as well in this community, but I mean, if I had one show to listen to and I couldn't do my own show and I had to just listen to a show, it'd be the Chief Concern Podcast without question. So definitely go follow them. I love those guys to death, man. I appreciate the time. We need to get to the people, man. They've been waiting patiently, Trevor. It's time for speaking. Hopefully there's been some questions. But if they're not, we can just freelance a little bit. But yeah, what are the people asking us, man?
We've got two right now. It's been a slower day. I think a lot of people are lost in the conversation for good reason. But if you guys have any questions as I go here, I've got two in the chamber. But if you guys want to throw some more ammunition my way, I'll gladly throw it in the clip. Our guy Dustin Horton, who has always, almost every single week, is the top first question off in this segment. He says, "Speak it. Who do you predict Eagles will have as on season opener? Who's going to be their opponent?"
Probably, I want to say probably the Commanders. Maybe it's a divisional game to start off the season, because that was the NFC Championship.
Or the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Cowboys always a good
Cowboys have a lot of hype this year, though.
Sure.
I think it's going to be somebody that they're really they want to hype. I think if they could get the Chiefs, they would make it the Chiefs game, like a rematch.
Maybe the Rams.
Yeah, because that was a really good game in the divisional round.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say they're gonna go with the divisional game. And that sounds illogical, but because the Commanders have a lot of expectation, they stocked up this offseason. That was the NFC Championship. I think they go that route. I think that we see a divisional foe, NFC East. We know that they love primetime NFC East games. So I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think I would probably go with the same right there. I think the Rams though.
Or like the Bills team or something. That's always safe.
Yeah.
A high-profile AFC team, if they got them on the schedule,
Sure.
Who's to tell?
And then our second question here is from Cell32Alt on YouTube. UFC predictions for tonight.
Yeah, so I'm really glad we get to talk about this briefly. So this is a very, very packed card, and I want to pull it just so everybody can – because we know obviously the top tier fight is Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez, who's my guy. Trevor and I have been massive Volk fans for many years. But Diego Lopez is that guy that we saw kind of rise as a villain.
And definitely rooting for Volkanovski, so there's no question.
Yeah, you got to. But I think we are. I want to get to that fight last if we can, Trevor, because I want to talk about some of the fights that I'm excited about that are on the main card. So obviously, Bryce Mitchell is fighting Gene Silva. Gene Silva's a madman. Bryce Mitchell is also, but for other reasons. And I think that this is going to be I want to respect Bryce Mitchell as a fighter because he is a good fighter. But what Emmett did to him when he knocked him out cold, I think that there could be a trend there now. I think that Bryce –
seen it
yes. I think that after Emmett knocked him out cold, and Gene Silva being the deadly man that he is, I think there's a really good chance that we see something close to that where Bryce Mitchell gets finished again. I don't think he's going to get tapped because he has good wrestling, but I do think that Gene Silva can catch him, and I think that you'll catch him with that right hand, and I think he puts him to sleep.
He's a killer, bro.
The fight that I'm really excited about, Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. So Patricio Pitbull's a much older fighter than Yair. I think Yair's only 31, and I think Patricio's in his late 30s, if not even 40. He's an older fighter. So he has a ton of experience on his side. But Yair is a guy that I think still has a real chance to get a chance for that belt. He didn't get a beat. I mean, Volk took him to the woodshed last time they fought a couple years ago. That was probably Volk's last great fight.
Yeah.
It didn't matter with the size difference. Yair got his ass kicked. I mean, Volk beat his ass. I think he does some work on Patricio. It's going to be a close fight. I don't think either guy gets finished. I think it goes to the score. I think Yair wins this by unanimous decision. And then we have the Michael Chandler Patty the Batty Pimblett fight. Trevor knows where I stand on Patty. I think he's an extremely overrated fighter. I think that he's probably the most overrated fighter in the UFC right now. He's very fun. He's cool. He's got the whole crowd behind him, and he's got the hair and he's just got the charm to him. And I get why he's a polarizing dude. But Michael Chandler is a dog. This is a bad motherfucker who's been around a long time and deserves his respect. I know he just lost his last fight, but he lost one of the greatest fighters of all time. So I'm taking Michael Chandler in this fight. I think he wins by decision. I think that Patty is a very technical fighter. I don't think he's going to get caught. I don't think that Patty's a younger fighter, so you can say, well, I'll go with the younger fighter, but Patty hasn't fought somebody at Michael Chandler's level. He hasn't beaten somebody at Michael Chandler's level. And until he does so, I'm going to give the veteran that has proven himself in this octagon for many years, I'm going to give him, who's still good, by the way. Like, it's not like Michael Chandler took a massive step down. He's still a very good fighter. He's 39 now, I think, right? Am I mistaken?
38.
38, yeah. So he is older, but like I said, because of the experience he has, he's taken on some great fighters throughout his career. Patty hasn't. I'm going to give him the decision. I think he wins by a close decision. Michael Chandler wins. And then we start re-emphasizing the fights. If you ever get to fight McGregor again, I hope they do all that bullshit. And then obviously we get to the main event, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Volk is, in my opinion, outside of Jose Aldo, the greatest featherweight of all time. In fact, I think he probably has a slight edge on Jose. And it's close because Jose had a dominant run. But Volk won like 14 straight fights, I want to say, and had like 6 title defenses. Like Volk is a goddamn animal. But I think that Father Time's got him, and I hate to say that because I didn't know it was ever going to happen to Volk. I thought that Volk was going to be great until his last days, but we know in MMA it gets everybody except John Jones for whatever reason. So I think Diego Lopez is going to finish Volkanovski tonight, dude. I do. I think Diego Lopez is at the peak of his powers. He's a killer. Yeah. He's got insane hands, and we saw the last time.
Volk is slightly favored. Yeah.
That which is crazy to me. No disrespect to Volk.
I don't.
Dude, he's been knocked out 2 straight. He's been finished 2 straight fights. Sure. You know what I mean? Like he had 2 fights, or he had 2 losses in his entire career before those, and he's been finished back-to-back fights. I think that Volk has still got the fervor and the fire still in him. But I think his best days are behind him, and Diego Lopez's best days are right now.
He's in his prime,
yeah. I think Diego Lopez finishes Volkanovski, and it makes me sick to say that, dude, because I love Volkanovski so much. I don't want to see that happen, but I just think Diego is the better fighter at this current time.
I can't really disagree with that. I mean, I definitely think this is a great matchup between these two guys, but I'm still going Volk on this one. I just think the experience, and one of very few fighters have I seen pure no quit to your game. Diego Lopez embodies that. Yeah. That guy, I mean, I've seen him. He's going to tap. How the hell did he not tap? How did he get out of it? It's so many different situations. And the way he can bang, too, standing up. So, like, he's great on the ground. He's even better on the ground than Volk is. And he can throw hands with some of the best of them, too. So, I mean, it's definitely – Volk's got his hands full, but I'm still leaning to – everything goes out the window when the octagon, bro. So Volk is just an all-time warrior just in this sport. So there's a height difference, there's like 5 inches difference in height there, but the reach is pretty similar. But it's basically a pick. I mean, Volk is minus 170. favorite, so it's pretty close to a pick 'em. But as far as Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett fight, I'm going Paddy the Batty.
Are you really?
Paddy is for real. I think he's a for real fighter. And I know he has this is his biggest fight for sure as far as like notoriety of the name he's going against. Michael Chandler is an absolute dog for sure. But I think stylistically, I think in this fight, Paddy's got more to his game. And I think Paddy is a dog too. I know he's got this aura about him where he's this kind of like flashy, pretty boy kind of thing that he does. But dude, he is a killer for sure.
I've yet to see it.
Okay, we literally just saw in his last fight. He actually just put on an absolute dominant display.
Against who?
Doesn't matter. That's not the point.
Was it Bobby Green?
Yeah,
it was like 19 losses.
Fights, honestly, bro. Like Bobby Green's a killer too. And
he's fun. Yes,
credit what he's been in this game in the sport as well. So, but Yair and Patricio, I think this is Yair's fight. I think Yair these are both very skilled fighters. I think Yair is just obviously I mean, Pitbull is 37 too, bro. He's getting there as well. The guy's taking a lot of damage. He's had a lot of fights, 36-7. Yair is very much in his prime. Has fought great fighters already. Has a lot of experience. So this is gonna be this fight could definitely go either way. And Yair is favored for good reason, but it's basically a minus 155. But I'm taking Yair in that one. Bryce Mitchell, I hope he gets destroyed. Cannot stand this man. Listen, fun fighter to watch for sure, but I just need him to get every single tooth knocked out that's left. Please, for everything that is holy, Silva, please just end this man already. It's frustrating. But there is another fight too. I mean, Dominic Reyes and Nikita Krylov.
Was that one still on?
That's the first fight I think of the pay-per-view.
Oh shit! I
love Dominic Reyes, man. I love his comeback story. I love what he's become. That guy is an absolute knockout fiend. I love his style. He just throws bricks. He's the dog in this fight for good reason. I mean, Nikita is a killer as well. I think that has a chance to be fight of the night. So I think these two guys are going to want to stand up and just destroy each other.
Oh, they also have Jeff Neal and Carlos Paredes too.
Dude, the prelims are loaded.
Oh, they got
too.
canceled. That's when they got canceled. That's when they got canceled.
We got Jim Miller in there too. Jim Miller and Chase.
He's on the prelim, isn't he?
Yeah, so I mean that's gonna be fun, man. So yeah, these prelims are great. Sean Woodson and Dan Age, or Iggy. How do you say it? Iggy? Yeah. Dan,
Iggy.
I can't remember. I know that he's the guy that filled in for that fight not too long ago.
Yeah.
And won the fight. He came close to winning the fight. Anyway, that guy's a dog too. Just a lot of this whole card is loaded. Excited to see it, but I really want to see my boy Paddy Pimblett win the fight. And obviously, I want to see my guy Volk. Those are the two guys I'm rooting for the hardest today.
Trevor's gonna have some heartbreak tonight. That sucks.
I mean,
that sucks.
This sport is very unpredictable, man. So a lot of times when you think you got it,
remember how quiet the room was when Volk got knocked out by Pereira? Oh my God! It was Taporia.
Yeah,
Taporia knocked him out.
That was embarrassing.
That just
that was embarrassing. That was rough.
I didn't think it was possible.
That was light work. Unfortunately, it was a bad matchup. But yeah, great card tonight. We will be watching. So yeah, man, definitely looking forward to that card tonight. I hope you guys all watch. We can get your takes as well once it's all said and done. And Volk has that dub under Shaggy Shane. I still want defensive tackle Derek Harmon round 1. What do you think of him?
Oh, obviously I have him in my mock draft. I think the guy I want the most right now is probably Walter Nolan. We talked a little bit about him briefly with our guy Teja. Walter Nolan is probably my favorite defensive lineman in this draft for the Chiefs. He's raw, but he has his RAS scores and things like that are just so high. And I know the Chiefs pay attention to that stuff, so that's why I'd have him. But Harmon is a dude that I think fits physically the style the Chiefs are looking for to pair up with Chris Jones pretty much perfectly. So, yes, if the Chiefs were to get Harmon, let's say, that my trade happens where the Chiefs and Jags make a trade, the Chiefs would fall back 5 spots, get a couple extra picks, get out of the first round, but, they have 5 picks in the first 100. That's the kind of guy I think they're going to aim towards. But, Teja makes a good point. The Chiefs want to take a tackle early for the offensive line. I can't believe them either, but it's going to have to be a Connerly or somebody like that because there's not many guys that fit the mold that the Chiefs are looking for at least for the next 2 years. So I do definitely agree with you, Shaggy. I think that's where the Chiefs are going to be aiming in their first pick.
Shaggy with another follow-up question. Would either of you be shocked if Andy Reid couldn't control himself and made Veach draft wide receiver Luther Burden?
Yes, because for 2 reasons. One, Andy Reid has come out many, many times, and I actually do believe him about this. I think he has a say in the draft, but he also says he trusts Beach to make the picks. I know they talk beforehand, obviously, extensively about what Andy's looking for to add to the roster, because it is Andy's roster at the end of the day. But I do think he just gives suggestions and then leaves it at that and lets Veach do what he does. Because Veach is an established GM, an elite established GM in this league. Andy knows that Brett Veach knows what he's doing. And so and the second part of it is there's no chance the Chiefs are taking a wide receiver in this draft. For one, Luther Burden's really good, but he's not going to help elevate the Chiefs to where they already are at any more than where they're already at. Like Luther Burden is a guy that needs to go to a team that is in dire need of a playmaking wide receiver. The Chiefs have 3, so I don't really see the relevance of that with their pick. And the Chiefs would have to stick in the first round for that to happen because Luther Burden is not making it past 31. In fact, I don't think he makes it past 21. I think Luther Burden's going to be a surprisingly early pick because he's the best receiver in this draft, and that includes Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is a weapon to me. Travis Hunter is a weapon. He's a guy that's going to play. He is going to play both sides of the ball. How much, we'll find out. But he is going to play cornerback and wide receiver. But I think Luther Burden, with his size and his ability and the fact that he plays just purely receiver, I understand he's a local kid. He played at Mizzou, and there's ties there with Andy Reid having a former, he coached there, and obviously they play in Kansas City, Missouri. I think they like him. But I just don't think that wide receivers the play on the top of the board for the Chiefs in any regard. I think defensive tackle, offensive line, running back, pieces like that are where they're more prioritizing their early draft picks. I think that's so. Yeah, I don't see it happening at all.
Our guy Stan Simmons in the chat. Who would you love to see in a no holds barred debate? Nick Wright and Jason McIntyre, or Skip Bayless and Nick Wright?
Well, we've already So
Nick
is very kind to Jmac because Jmac is Colin's puppy dog. So like he is very respectful, but I think that would take maybe 2 takes at best for Nick to just annihilate anything Jason McIntyre has ever said. So that wouldn't be as fun. Selfishly, I want to see a rematch of Skip and Nick Wright. But the problem for that though is Skip would have to be employed for that to happen, and he's not. So that's going to probably be the hankering on all that from happening. The reason I want the rematch, though, is because I don't know if I've ever seen somebody get bodied more on live television in just a subtle debate than what Nick Wright did 6 years ago to Skip Bayless on the LeBron James debate. He eviscerated him in the most subtle way. Like he put back on Skip Bayless the take he had when he said that Ray Allen saved LeBron's legacy with that 3-pointer, even though it tied the game. But then wanted 5 minutes later to say that Kyrie Irving won the finals for LeBron James because he hit that 3 against the Warriors. And Nick quickly goes, 3 points, going up 3 points doesn't win you anything. Ray Allen taught me that. That's the greatest comeback of all time. I've never heard a better comeback than that because the Spurs thought they had it won and Ray Allen tied it up. Just like, they won, they got the 3 points, they're up 3, they won, right? Yeah. No, Ray Allen knew who you used vehemently against LeBron. Showed that.
Idiot too.
Nick eviscerated him, and it was bad. And so I want that rematch because I think now Nick can be a little bit more on that, lean into it a little more because he's now the top dog outside of Colin Cowherd in that network, and so that would be a fun one. I would definitely appreciate that. J-Mac he's light work. He doesn't even have his own show. Like he has to fill in for Colin. That's the thing, dude.
Yeah. All right. Last question from our guy Lonnie Pyramid. What up, Lonnie?
Yo.
How are you guys? Got to check on my guys.
Dude, we're great. Like I said, we got a great day ahead of us. Trevor and I are gonna have a nice little hangout session tonight. We got some people over for the UFC card. Really looking forward to it. I'm going to be cooking up my famous burgers. Yes, they are famous. People like them, and people talk about them. People want more of them, so I'm doing that. Life's good, man. I think overall. I don't want to speak for Trev, but I think things are overall pretty good. Trev's got an exciting new career path he's chosen, and things are going good for him. And I'm a stripper now. I'm doing really well, so they call me Vanilla Clap. I'm doing really good, making a lot of singles, and I'm still single. So things are good, guys. I'm enjoying my life. We get to do this show every week. We get people like Lonnie and Julia and Ruben and Stan and Dustin and Shaggy, all you people been hang out with us every Saturday, dude. Life's good. I don't know how I can be bad when I get to hang out with you guys every weekend.
I mean, I'm obviously still in prison, so you can see that from behind me. But yeah, outside of that, bro, everything's good.
Put a little location below to like San Quentin.
Well, I need to get up and like show everybody my shackles that I have on my ankles.
Show them that new shake you carved out yesterday.
I'm working on my tunnel over here, just like some Shawshank. But yeah, behind that cheese poster, there's an actual. I'm boring a hole through this wall with my toothbrush. But no, man, everything's good, bro. Yeah, everything's good over here in the spoken side of things and the Twidwell side of things. So yeah, looking up, man. Everything's looking up. Yeah, so, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you asking.
That's the end of the questions.
That is all the questions.
Good. That's an efficient speak it, man. Like I told you guys at the top, I tell you at the bottom again. Go to YouTube for us. Hit up the Spoken Podcast there. Hit subscribe. Hit notify. Hit share. All that stuff really helps us big time, guys. Algorithm. But what we want the most, just for you guys to chime in. Go ahead and hit that comment bar as well, man. It's start chiming in like everybody has all day today. All walks of life, all different people, race, religions, everything are on this show, man. That's what it's all about, because we all have one common love, and it is sports, and in particular, it is the Chiefs and football. And we very much appreciate having these conversations with people that otherwise we probably would not know existed, and vice versa. That's the beautiful thing about this. That's why I love it so much, is that I've made friendships out of this that I wouldn't have otherwise. So that's why this show and everything we do here is so important to us. And yes, God damn it, Lonnie, I make very good burgers. I thought you said GD, so I said goddamn. I make good GD burgers, buddy. I kill them. I'm a killer in this game. I've been doing it for many, many years. I know how to cook the shit out of a burger. Not literally, but, just the right amount. So one of these days I'll have to cook out for the whole Spoken Podcast. Y'all have to come out and hang out with us. So yeah, very much appreciate you guys. This is what makes my weekends what they are, dude. I always have such a great mood. I'm always flying high after a show, just because of the conversations we have, man. And I am a conversationalist. So, what was that name of Lance? Lonnie Pyramid. What name of what? I don't know. I have no idea. What's going on, Lonnie?
Not sure.
What was the name again? What name? Help me out here, Lonnie, real quick before we get out of here, bro. I gotta make sure I know what you're talking about here. Was he talking about the prison that you're in, Trevor? I said San Quentin. Trevor's at San Quentin right now.
It was Guantanamo Bay, but they transferred.
They did transfer. He was too dangerous for them over there.
Yeah.
So
I was making too much racket at night. They couldn't. I wasn't letting anybody else sleep. If I couldn't sleep, nobody. I was just boring a hole through my wall, brother.
It's like scary movies. Man, you shut the fuck up.
But yes, racket.
Well, when we wait for Lonnie to answer my question, because I have no idea what he's talking about, what name he's talking about. We have one more order of business to get to. What is it called, Trevor? Hold this L. Each and every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who's ever holding those L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Tudwell, who's holding the L for you this week?
Well, I'm just now realizing this. We might have the same L, but if not the same L, there's going to be a correlation here.
Sweet.
But I am just going to read this article from SB Nation. Never doubt the Mavericks' ability to make the worst decision possible. Luka Doncic will return. This is before he played his game recently, a few days ago against, in Dallas, his first return game there. Luka Doncic will return to Dallas on Wednesday night and will surely be an emotional game for both him and the fans from the moment he was dealt. It was the game everyone circled on the calendar. Apparently, knowing full well how big this game would be, the Mavs tried to monetize in the least self-aware way possible. According to Tim McMahon of ESPN, the franchise tried to line up sponsorship deals involving Luka, to which he obviously said no to. The franchise, and just to add the context here, the franchise plans to play a tribute video for Doncic, source said, providing fans with in the arena a final opportunity to savor all of his accomplishments in a Mavs uniform and mourn not getting more. Team sources told ESPN that the Mavs had also lined up lucrative sponsorship deals for Wednesday's game with multiple companies that Doncic endorses. But those deals fell apart after Doncic's camp declined to giving its blessing, poignantly noting he now plays for the Lakers. In a decision, team sources told ESPN that probably will cost franchise. In a decision, the trade, team sources told ESPN that probably will cost the franchise 9 figures over the next several years, as the Mavs are projected to lose dozens of millions in revenue this season due to dwindling crowds, plumping merchandise sales, and sponsors severing ties with the franchise in the wake of the trade. So many fans canceled season tickets in the days after the trade that the Mavs attempted to generate from some goodwill by offering limited refunds. I mean, the L's continue to circle and circulate over there in for the Mavs and leadership there. You've seen Mark Cuban in the crowd. I mean, when they're chanting with the fire. Yeah, I mean,
it's now. That's my L too, man. So
yeah,
we coincide on that.
I mean,
it's the easiest L.
That picture is so cool, bro.
Oh man,
this isn't
even the picture from that game.
Right.
This is from the previous one in LA.
There was another one too that was from the game in Dallas, but I mean, just the fact that they were trying to reach out to Luka's camp, just so. I mean, like the article says, lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
From that franchise, from Nico.
We just traded you. Can we make some money off you?
Hey, I mean, this could possibly go down as the worst trade in sports history.
No, this is already the worst trade I've ever seen in NBA history.
I mean,
it already is.
It's up there, bro. Like,
can you think of another trade that's worse than this one?
He's the only player that's partially maybe on pace to reach LeBron's points.
I mean,
the way that LeBron's going, he might be the second highest scorer of all time. His pace is there, which is nuts. And that's the guy you trade away. And as he's just entering his prime, is the most absurd thing. It's the most absurd thing.
LeBron James.
It felt like a fake thing when that first came out. But the fact that they were trying to work out a deal and like, hey, buddy,
that's a solid.
Yeah, can we make some money off of you? It's fucking bananas, bro. I could not believe that when I was saying that before the game was coming, or after the fact, I guess. I didn't really see that until after the fact that they had reached out and tried to do some deals before that game, and he went out there and just dropped nothing but 45 and just absolutely just I think he had 31 and a half. 34 and a half. I mean, it was actually a pretty competitive game until the last end. LeBron took over the fourth quarter there. Closed it out. But yeah, this Lakers team is good. This Lakers team is dangerous.
Did you hear, by the way, that LeBron is he led the NBA in
clutch points.
Yeah, clutch points. In fourth quarter points.
Yeah. But everyone wants to talk about Jalen Brunson. I get it. Jalen Brunson's great, but LeBron's fucking 40 years old, bro. And that one-handed pass and alley-oop to LeBron from Luka the other night was insane. Last night. Last night. Unreal. This Lakers team is
Christ out of the Rockets backups.
Yeah, I mean,
they got left on the third seat though. So.
This is a solid team going into the playoffs game. Austin Reeves doing what he's doing. Playing his ass off.
Lonnie Pyramid, stripper name. Oh, my dance name is Vanilla Clap.
Yeah, let's repeat that.
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
He doesn't like that one.
Yeah. He has a target audience. That is niche.
It's hot commodities.
But yeah, man. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that. I think that was.
I just thought it was poetic justice. I love the fact that Nico got to hear that in his own crowd because the biggest aspect of it all. Do
you think he survives this? Do you think they have to find a way to get him out of there?
There's no way.
You have to find a way to get him out of there.
It's not just how bad the trade was in its longevity, how bad it is immediately. Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. Kyrie Irving just blew his knee out. They're not making the playoffs now. And I remember how hilarious it was when we heard Stephen A. Smith and these guys saying they won the trade. And I told you the night of, I'm like, bro, that is the worst trade of all time. Luka and LeBron together is hilariously awesome. And so the poetic justice of it is you saw how Luka clearly did not want to leave. He was crying during the tribute. And
he wanted a statue.
That's why this trade sucks so bad for the Mavericks because Luka didn't want to leave. It's one thing if the superstar's like, I'm gone. If you knew it, it's over. They just went to the finals. He loves his teammates. He was playing well with them, obviously, playing great basketball. And you traded him.
Watching that game, I've never seen anything like this, at least in the NBA. Watching that game, every time Luka got the ball, and this is on the road. This is in Dallas. Every time he got the ball, the Mavs fans were cheering for him.
Yes.
And every time he got a bad call, they were booing the refs for calling a bad call or a bad foul on Luka.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. It felt like a Laker game.
I don't want to speak for Mavericks fans because we don't know them and we don't touch that fan base at all. Yeah. But I would imagine because of their history of the most beloved player ever is Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki was a foreign player that basically was raised with the Mavericks, young kid, all the way into his career, played for one team. So their tradition is We bring in a foreign player, make him one of us. He becomes like our guy, and we love him until he's done, right? And that's what they wanted with Luka, because Luka is actually a better player than Dirk Nowitzki. He's a better player than Dirk Nowitzki was. Dirk was a killer scorer.
Of a complete player.
Yes. Dirk didn't have the game that Luka has. He didn't have the bag that Luka has. Yeah. He just was tall as shit and shoot. Yeah. Luka was that next Dirk, but like volume 2, like 2.0, and they wanted to see 15 to 20 years of that in Dallas, and you ruined that. Why would you do that? Because like you said, the sponsors are done. People are canceling their season tickets. How in any way did this help?
People were trying to get a lot of the season ticket holders were trying to get refunds.
Yes.
So
and their excuse was, well, he didn't train like we wanted him to. Oh, he likes beer. Are you
We need more defense.
Shaquille O'Neal, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, all these other guys throughout history maybe didn't take their bodies as seriously, but my God, were they some of the greatest players of all time? You don't sacrifice that because you think the guy has work ethic issues and he's already great and just led you to the fucking finals.
He is on pace to outscore Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I mean, right.
He's on pace to be the second highest scorer behind LeBron.
There's no logic behind
You don't trade those kind of
guys.
And
the worst part, we'll share all of it, and we get off in a second, we can give the L out. They didn't market him to the rest of the league. You know what they could have gotten for Luka? Because the rest of the league was on saying that
they wanted to market his return. You could have got bewildering.
You could have gotten what was his name? The running back from the Cowboys. They traded like 10 picks for him. I'm an idiot because I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. He tries politics now; it's hilarious. But like, dude, they could have gotten the most groundbreaking. If they really were hell bent on trading him, they could have sold him off to some poverty franchise for 4 first-round picks and 3 starters. I'm not kidding. That's the kind of trade they could have gotten for Luka. 4 first-round picks, 3 starters, an additional first round that's a protected pick. You know what I mean? Like, but they just only went to the Lakers, and they got Anthony Davis is a great player, but he's 31 years old and injury prone, and that's. You got Christie, who's he's all right, young player.
He could be developing into a good player. Yeah.
That's a terrible trade.
It's not it. Yeah.
Yes.
Not much else.
John Harrison has to add. If Lance is a stripper, do they throw quarters or make it hail instead of rain? Shit. I shouldn't have let you guys know that my personal life's out there now, man. But that's how I make money, dude. And with a body like this, you just can't. You can't help it. You know what I mean? That's just what you got to do. You got to use what you got. And I got a lot of it, so come see me on Tuesdays at 2:30.
Yeah,
lunch specials,
matinee. Oh shit!
Woo! Here we go. We'll start the party early. Yeah.
Come see me at Chubby Chasers. Matinee.
I give myself a standing ovation.
Got a wing.
You know what I mean? But no, Nico Harrison, I don't even know how else to say. This is the easiest L I think we've ever given on the show because it's just so absurdly stupid. No one asked you to do this. Luka didn't want it, and you still just shot yourself right in the balls, dude. Like, what are you thinking? So for that, Nico Harrison, do me a solid for Trevor and myself, and
hold this L.
God, and again, there's no way he survives it, dude.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
And after he loses his job as the GM, somehow, whenever they figure out a way to get him out the door, he will never have another job.
There's no way. He'll be selling shoes at some fucking shoe carnival or something.
He wasn't even like a dude that was like really known around the league as like some big name. This was like his chance to like be attached to a great, and he trades him away. It's just a wild situation, bro. It feels like it's the most self-sabotage situation for a GM.
I feel bad for Jason Kidd because there's no way he signed off on it. There's no way.
Oh yeah.
You just went to the finals.
That presser that they did after the fact, like you could just see
dying inside.
Dude, horrible.
Well, I'll tell you who isn't dying inside. That's us because we've had a blast today. Teja Dash, shout out to our brother from the Chief Concern Podcast. Shout out to the entire Chief Concern Podcast for what they do over there. They provide incredible content for Chiefs fans worldwide. And I appreciate every single one of you guys the most because you guys are quite frankly what makes the show fun, man. We come on here, we voice our opinions, we let you guys know where we're standing at this current time on things, and then we hand it off to you guys, and we hear from you, and that is what makes the show awesome because we don't want it to be a one-sided show where we're basically a mirror where we're just looking at ourselves and listening to ourselves in an echo chamber. We want to make sure that it's our voices are reaching you and your voices reach back to us. So definitely get on YouTube, guys, and subscribe to our show and get in the chat when we're on here. Even after the shows, we still get comments. We appreciate all the feedback we get, positive, negative, whatever it is you guys have for us, man. We welcome it all. So we very much appreciate every one of you guys for being here today, and we hope that you guys continue to enjoy your weekend. So for Trevor Twidwell, the great Clay Windler that puts all this together on the back end of things at Red Tribe Cinema, the entire Starcade Media family, I am Lance Twidwell. Episode 309 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And so we're back here 1 week's time for episode 310 to talk about whatever the hell's going on. One step closer to the mock draft. I might give you guys another mock draft. Haven't decided yet. I think you guys know where I'm at on things. I think you guys know where Trevor's at on things. We're ready for this draft to get here, but until then, we're 1 week closer. We out of this bitch. See y'all
Later.